Hello and welcome back to Challengers Elite here in Europe. Stage 2, the final day of group stage is underway, and a lot of implications as far as what this will do to the overall standings. My hold shift with me, as is yesterday, is Visions and Infinity. Boys, a lot to kind of figure out as far as who makes it in, who makes it out, and who's just happy to be here.
Oh yes, I am absolutely thrilled to be back here for another day, and this is going to be a wild one because through this region, especially for Europe, a lot of different implications can happen, like you said, Alan. So that means that a lot is on the line. Have to see who's going to be able to show up today and take home some wins.
Infinity, good to see you as always, looking always as dapper as usual. How are you?
Yeah, what can I say? It comes naturally, Shift. But yeah, I'm feeling really great. This is my favorite. Look, don't laugh, guys. Right? You should be supportive of me here. This is my favorite day of Challengers Elite. I won't lie. Even outside of playoffs, right? This is just an incredible day. It happened with Stage 1. We come down to the wire with teams either trying to stay alive in Challengers Elite or looking for the spots, not only in playoffs but in Stage 3. There is a lot on the line today in Europe and North America.
Let's take a look to see how exactly the standings tree has shaken up things so far through our first handful of days and what exactly is going to be on the line. We do know for a fact that after the first 3 days, the overall standings do show us a couple of teams that are up top, ready to go at least for playoffs. I mean, so far it's been an incredible run for teams like Passion. Absolutely perfect start for them so far. Los Galacticos, also formerly known as Rams as of just last week, have also played pretty darn well. So before we take a look over that overall, I mean, it's one of those things, Infinity, that when we take a look at how the top two have fared, pretty impressive through and through.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you take a look at Passion, Los Galacticos here, and honestly, I would say for Los Galacticos, it's not surprising. I mean, what we talk about them being Stage 1 champions, formerly known as Rams, it's not at all surprising that they're there. Passion as well, though, that is the one where they are very similar to what we saw from Orgless in Stage 1. So to see them 6-0, to me, it's a surprise, but not a surprise, which I know is conflicting, but you know what I mean.
Visions, what about you? What are your general reactions to the top two teams that we have going into this last day?
Yeah, I think that it's still surprising that I think Passion have gone undefeated with, the limited time that they've had together. So the fact that they've been able to run over a lot of these top teams and, have a close set versus Galacticos, I feel like, shows their strengths as a roster when they come together and how that backline as well as subline is able to kind of carry throughout games pending the maps that we get into. So that, I think that team overall has been very surprising. And, well, Los Galacticos still, I feel like one of the most consistent teams, even though they have suffered a couple of losses. It was again a close one, round 11, map 5 versus Passion, but overall it's pretty wild, I think, to see these top two still battling it out. And yeah, man, Passion really bouncing back to see if they can maybe kind of carry this in towards playoffs as well.
And just kind of the last thought here, Infinity, we look at teams really 3 through 7, a bunch of teams at 3 and 3, a couple at 2 and 4. During Stage 1, Singularity was able to kind of clutch things up in the final day to get out of relegation. The same could technically still occur for teams like Team Moon and 627K.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a situation all that dissimilar to what we saw in Stage 1. You guys might remember it with Team Singularity and House Taft, both of them vying for that final spot, of course, with the other team in 8th place, Team 3G, already being relegated. This time, though, I think the big difference is there is a spaghetti junction of potential paths that could go down here. There's many different outcomes, but all of them come down to either Team Moon or 67K being relegated here today and the other one going through to the knockouts. And again, this is what we love about this final day of round robin. It is going to be a mess for a number of these teams trying to scramble their way into various seeding positions and such.
I can't get out of the mental imagery of what a spaghetti junction would look like. I'm just imagining pesto sauce and Alfredo and marinara all over the place. It doesn't sound very good. But taking a look at the schedule rundown as far as what exactly we're broadcasting here on the main stream, we'll be taking a look at Orgless going up against Connect 4 first, and then Train Hard will get a chance to try to upset maybe some of the hopes of Elite 2. And then, of course, we'll be back at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, where we'll be going into North America. A lot of implications there for the top part of the group, as Wester and Built by Gamers will be squaring things off first, and then the UT crew will be playing up against Eastern. But before we really get into talking about NA, let's just kind of go through the two matches we have here in Europe. Infinity Orgless Connect 4. Let's be candid, this is essentially a match for seedings overall, so it really just comes down to win, and you're going to be sitting up near the top.
Yes, this is going to be an important match, I suppose. Not necessarily, I think, for seeding, if anything. I think this is a grudge match between these two teams. Yes. And more to the point, Dave, he got dropped by this Orgless roster just before stage 1. You might remember it. They brought on Harry to the lineup. And of course, this is where he ended up onto this Connect 4 lineup. And since then, Connect 4 have been unable really to take Orgless down. I think they might have done it once, but in their last 3 face-offs, it has been Orgless winning every single one. So it's time to get into it. We're right into the swing of things here with Orgless and Connect 4 in this best of 5s. And I'm going to be casting with my good friend Visions for this one.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time, Brody. We'll see if maybe any revenge will finally come through for Dave and co as we do get in here. And, well, so far so good for Orgless, as they're going to be able to get the majority of the time off of P1. Dave is going to stop the push coming through green, but is going to be taken down from Vortex. So Harry's got one of his teammates with him, but will lose him, and it's Lenny finding 2 there. Massive kills to make sure they hold on towards green control. Connect 4 also able to start to press forward on towards the map here, and they got a good grip on Orgless if they can hold the positions.
You do indeed. Right now, it is going to be Connect 4 inside the hardpoint, soaking up that last bit of scrap time. We look up towards rotation. Vortex might just be able to take Linny off this. Goes for the contest, and he's now going to be where it. Linny turns around, gets that gunfight, a major one early on here as Connect 4 are going to have a good foothold inside this hill, and now it's going to be out for Orgless hit. Trying to find a way on through. Do you go for the brick push? Do you go through green? Well, the latter is essentially closed here. Nolson's put a roadblock down. They're not getting through.
Not getting through here for themselves. Big time for Connect 4 to get, and they're still trying to get through the back, but Dave holding this position has the cross covered, so not going to be very easy to kind of get past this line that we currently see. Nolson in the front might start to look for a bit of a rotation right now as he just comes flying out of green. Another gunfight for him. Nolson frying, finds 2 in a row coming outside of green, and now look at the minimap right now here, Brody. We have a lot of members rotating for Connect 4. It's up to Harry in the back to see if he can stop this, and he will find the first one, but Dave, he gets the trade. They will be cleaned up in the end, so that is a big moment where you're going to say, all right, thank God that we have Harry back here finding some kills with a good amount of help so we can get some real time.
This is one of those huge rotations. Linny's actually spawned in the back. So has Joe. That is rough for Orgless. They didn't send a player in the back far enough, and Linny is just sitting here. Now, Josh, I believe, has kind of sniffed out that these spawns are still coming on through just because of where Orgless, his teammates, are actually spawning, but it's too little, too late. Linny comes on through, able to pick up one. Nolson there as well. Nasty is still close by and looking to do some damage here for Orgless. Unfortunately, isn't able to do all that much, and that is not necessarily a devastating push-in from Connect 4, but nonetheless, Orgless do not get that time, and now they're going to have to push in for this last 25 seconds. But again, that is not good here for this Orgless lineup.
Yeah, Spawn's just not really playing into their favor for the first couple of hills. Now, we do see teams typically bring things back going in towards 4 and 5, depending they can actually hold the middle of the map and not really let this team get out of that previous spawn. But things might have just flipped around again due to where player 3 just spawned here for us for Josh. So we'll see exactly if this hill time does continue to go the way of Connect 4 as they make this rotation in. Nasty finding one will be able to kind of stop this push for the time being. Harry watching over the front is going to make things ever so difficult. Dave doesn't stand a chance. Harry just absolutely frying in and around the point. 12 and 7 start for him as this is good time for Orgless, but will he be able to hold on?
Oh, Harry. You can just tell why Harry was added to this Orgless lineup before stage 1. A real beast, especially now that he's got a Krig 6 in his hand. He's looking pretty good at the moment, but the rest of his squad still trying to find their way back and in, and that wave of kills will most certainly help. But it is going to be them here looking to try and get the remainder of this scrap time. They know that Connect 4 at least will be spawning over artillery. I'm not entirely sure if we're aware of the fact that Nolson and Joe have spawned over towards brick, so they could be caught out here with their pants down. If Nolson executes properly up top in green, he will pick up one, and that will be able to cut off a little bit of this Connect 4 push through the mid-map as Nolson gets straight onto the hard point, pushes Connect 4, or Orgless, sorry, to spawn all the way out over towards generators. That's
actually just so massive. It's just the time that those kills come through in so that they have to fast track towards the new hill. And Dave with a sub apparently is just as good as he is with an AR, Brody, as he finds himself a couple of close range kills. But they don't exactly have control over the hill, even though those kills did come through and it was looking great. It's because the spawn's in the back. It forces Connect 4 to play slow for a moment. So things just come to a pause as this has pretty much all gone to the game clock for the first 20 seconds. Joe wants to stop that as he's making his way inside of lights. Nolson now with a couple kills coming through will be free to hop inside of the point. So Connect 4 back on the time. Have about a hard point lead in their favor. 30 seconds to play for. The push comes through for Orgless. They're able to open up with one and regain control for now as we'll see if they can lock down the last 20.
It's going to be Orgless looking for this time. Linny does a 360 onto that kill versus Vortex. Doesn't come on through. Connect 4 are able to pick up the remainder of this scrap time with Orgless spawning out over towards the back. And this is a good opportunity here for Connect 4 to extend their lead. It is very hard to break this one early on. You're going to see Orgless here go for the pretty standard push of trying to regain control of green before they do anything, and Connect 4 are going to be well aware of that fact. Linny able to shut down that push straight through, though, and Orgless, I mean, right off the bat here, they actually are forcing Connect 4 to deal with them a little bit earlier than maybe they would like, so no time in the hill currently being earned, but, I mean, Connect 4 here, not in the worst position.
Not in the worst position whatsoever, and it's just a matter of holding spawns again for, I think, the more important hills, which is where their focus has been when we're talking about the P2s and P3s. Rotations have been strong towards those ones. For now, Orgless, they just need any time they could possibly get to start kind of chipping away at this lead for themselves, and with Connect 4 getting back on the hill, that's going to be very difficult. Josh up top, important role here. Does he want to help out with the scrap time, or will he make the move towards the next hill? Decides to make the move, but gets cut down there off screen from Nolson. Vortex next one up. What can he do on this rotation towards the back? Because this is one of those hills where you can't let them get the majority of the time here, or you're going to be at such a deficit, it might be too difficult to come back from. So we'll see what Orgless can do on this push.
Big push here from Orgless, looking to get around the back here. Vortex has a 1v1 versus Linny. Linny just outplayed him, though, and now Linny has to go for the second one. Linny picks up 2. Huge gunfights around the back, and now that's just going to leave Josh all on his lonesome. Orgless still spawning pretty close, but nonetheless, this is just more time going Connect 4's way. They're looking to push this one out. Also, Harry is still there, looking to do something. Nolson is going to fall. Dave in with the trade, so Connect 4 able to hold on to this time. That's 30 seconds that Orgless realistically aren't going to want to push, because you've got to think about that rotation, Austin.
You have to think about it, and this is just another situation that we were talking about before where Orgless aren't getting time, so you have to convert for what needs to be the majority of the time towards this next hill. Again, like, we're looking at what will be just about 200 points for Connect 4, so they're going to have about a 100-point lead over top of Orgless, and this rotation is going to be everything, as we'll see Joe start to make it as well. And, well, he's got Nolson with him, and look at the spawns, Brody. This is not great. This is a 3v3 in towards the back, so a chance to be able to actually break in. Vortex needs to play his life. Nolson finds the kill. They're on the time for now, but Orgless need to hold on towards the spawns, and it's not looking great as Nolson comes through again. Trade's good for Joe. Connect 4, they break this setup immediately, and they're right back on the time.
They just keep on surging through. I just don't know what is happening here for Connect 4. They just keep on getting these kills. Orgless letting it happen time after time. Now, well, you're in the danger zone. Technically speaking, Connect 4 could well finish it here on this hard point. You've got to, at the very least, touch this hill, but they're just not letting you. Joe and Nolson combine for 4. Connect 4 looking very good here. And just 20 seconds left on this hard point. It is all the time in the world that they need.
Have to look to contest the second of this at the very least. And, well, with 2 players going down, this could be the chance. Lenny still on the point. Could play a very influential role, and now it's up to Nasty. Can he get on the time? Joe stops him from getting there. The tick should come through, and it does. Connect 4. Playing some very nice hard point here in map number 1, Brody. They close this one out 250 to 110.
Some very crucial breaks there. You know, we talk about rotation over towards P2, or P3, sorry. Pretty much, I think it's both times they got broken early on, and those were huge rotations for Orgless. And you know, on a map like Garrison, it can be very punishing if you get broken on rotation early on. And that's exactly what happened. And of course, we did see some stellar performance there coming out of your subs in Nolson and Joe. So you love to see it from Connect 4. They start this series off on the right foot.
They do start it off on the right foot, and it's really interesting because this Orgless squad that you would look at on paper and say, these guys look like they would be a pretty nasty respawn team, right? And they are really good when we're talking about, you know, Control being, you know, the one game one that we, of course, play in towards map number 3. But you only play it once. And Hardpoint hasn't exactly been here for them, I think, so far throughout this entire stage 2. It's more just been, you know, a positive win rate in towards Search and Destroys as well as the Control. But as we take a look at a lot of the replays that kind of take place here for us, Brody, there was just a lot of issues that we're talking about on rotation. And not only is it, you know, actually the rotation that's costing them, it's also holding the setups, because we saw multiple times, this hill in particular, they were here first, it's just they couldn't actually hold on towards the spawn. So they're spawning out, they lose the hill time, they're unable to kind of remain in control, and it's of course costing them because you're playing 2 hard points a series, and if you're not winning those, it's going to be really difficult to take the best of 5.
And I think generally as well, right, this Hardpoint was very important for Connect 4. It is a game mode where quite blatantly Orgless have been struggling, actually, in this split, which is weird because we talk about this team. It is exactly the same roster that played in Stage 1, and back there, they were a very good Hardpoint team. And as a matter of fact, I'd go as far to say they were the best team in Stage 1 here in Europe. This time around, Orgless have been struggling quite frequently. I think their record is not very good in the Hardpoint mode, so that made this game mode and this map particularly very important for Connect 4 to win, given it is their biggest strength here in this game. That being said, you know, going forward, I think the search and destroys are going to be huge in this series. Agreed. You know, we talk about generally if we can get the map set up, we can have a look at that to show you guys what this series actually does look like. But, you know, we look at control, for example. That is a major strength for Orgless at 5-1. So you don't want to necessarily chalk that, but that is not the game you want to win. I really do feel like this series, Austin, is going to come down to those search and destroys.
I think that it very well could. I mean, this is a series that is maybe even primed to go the distance when you look at what the strengths are throughout game mode to game mode, right? I think it's almost common that we'll see Connect 4 kind of come away with a couple of the hard points just due to Orgless, I think, just being, for whatever reason, weak in them at the moment, even with the roster that they have. And I think that they've been at least a little bit better for as far as their search and destroys, the positive win rate, and then their control, I think, has been the bread and butter of this squad for as far as coming out with wins at a 5-1 record currently in that game mode. So you can always rely on your game threes, but coming away with this second game and at least putting yourself in a position where you're going to be 2-1 up potentially going in towards what could be an apocalypse, so that even if you do lose another hard point, you can rely on your search and destroy express going the distance here for yourself. So that's kind of the way that I'm framing up and almost looking at this series as a whole for Orgless, just because they haven't been consistent for us throughout all of the respawns. And this raid search and destroy that's on the chopping block here for map number 2, Brody, it is a really important one for them to come through with. And it's just so interesting because, like you said, this team finished second when we're looking at, you know, stage 1, fell short towards what was, of course, the Rams. And now we're looking at the squad thinking, well, what went wrong? Because they still have Nasty, who has been, you know, one of the craziest players and really was almost supposed to be on that London Royal Ravens squad last year, but because of COVID wasn't able to. And you look at Harry, who's been probably one of the best ARs, I feel like, right now in EU challenges for as far as what he's been able to step up and do. So it's interesting that things just aren't connecting and aren't coming together here for them at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny, right? Because they were only one search and destroy round away from taking the entirety of stage 1 last time around. Exactly. It was a game 5 round 11 loss versus Rams. So they were just about to taste victory, and unfortunately they only tapped it with their tongue. That was about it really in stage 1. Let's take a look at Orgless then, their stats from stage 1. And you know, you mentioned Nasty as the player really that was set to join the London Royal Ravens last season, of course, and due to COVID and visa issues, that was not to be. And a massive part of this squad is Nasty at 1.17 KD. He's having stats like that across the board in every single game mode. But really, I mean, you look at specifically game mode KDs, you can see why they were such a good search and destroy roster, why they were such a good hardpoint team last go around. It's kind of ironic actually that they seem to have improved their control quite a bit and are now 5-1 in that game mode, whereas the weakest game mode last go around.
Yeah, you have to kind of wonder what practice is like when you come that close to winning an entire stage and you think, damn, like we got to really work on our third game mode, which is something I think a lot of teams are putting more time into as we get later and later in towards the season, because they want to be more well-rounded across every single game mode when we're talking about these best of fives. And maybe it's something along the lines of focusing on it too much, right? It feels like it's a little bit interesting, but as we take a look at Connect 4 stats as well, I mean, this is a squad that I feel like has some highlight players for as far as what we're getting. We got a lot of it from the submachine gun line. I feel like you look at Lenny and Nolson here, 1.1 for Lenny, 1.05. These were also the main reasons that they were able to come away with such a dominant map number 1 as well, right here, Brody, with just how much slaying power comes from this front line in a map like Garrison just really kind of lets them unleash. But it is interesting to see the squad at least stepping up towards Orgless, as now we have our map number 2 to see if we in fact will get a 2-0 lead for Connect 4 if Orgless is about to bounce back.
That's the question, isn't it? Which team will win the search and destroy, the hard points and the control? Maybe on paper they should go either way, but this search and destroy, this is absolutely up in the air. Let's see who will take it. As right off the start here, we love this offensive push coming out from Connect 4. Ye Old Faithful, straight through the mid they go. Dave and Lenny able to pick up the first bloods, and now this leaves Josh in a horrific position, guarding Laundry all by his lonesome. That bomb is going down at B, and Josh and Vortex, what do you even do in this situation?
Yeah, it's unideal, but good long-range shots there come through for Josh. He would have to get the full-on ace, do it all by himself. He's only got a sub, and well, you got Nolson who's just kind of sliding back and forth on him, just playing a little game. little peekaboo with them. Josh expecting maybe a pinch to come through the middle of the map, but everyone's posted up for Connect 4. Very difficult to try and do here for himself. I think he spots out Nolson, but just too many angles, too many players up and about. Connect 4, they come through first on their aggressive push through mid and get that first round.
It's just one of those hits, isn't it? You know, you go straight through the mid, you get there first because, of course, you're on the offensive side. That's how it works. And, well, it worked perfectly. Able to get the advantage and leave Josh and Vortex completely separated. My divorced parents, but now... switching sides, want to see what Orgless are able to pull off. Maybe a creative push from themselves here as, hey, they go for a bit of what we'll call this an abnormal play. Very rarely do you see teams going straight towards A early on in games of raid, search, and destroy. It is the harder bomb site to take, but it's not a problem for Orgless. Connect 4 have completely abandoned it.
Yeah, they have to play for a retake, and it's not always easy to retake this because of where player 5 and player 6 are set up, and they have player 7 watching the flank, so Joe not really ready for this one. Trade might come through for Dave, but even now his position is given away, and Josh gets out with his life, so this retake became so much more difficult because everyone's kind of just individually pushing. Dave has to find this kill, and maybe even a second. We only got 20 seconds left to try and make this play happen. Dave does find the first. His teammates, however, haven't found anything else. Vortex finds the second, and then Dave ends up falling as well. So a very nice hold coming through here to be able to bounce back and tie things right back up.
And that's why that B-bomb site is so beneficial, right? You get the bomb down over there, you effectively have this power position inside the bedroom or villa, as some people call it. And you know that you have to sort of usurp them from that position, but it's so hard to do. It's so hard to pull off. And, well, Orgless in that position, they played that one perfectly. So 1-1 here early on. We're having great starts coming up from Linny and Dave at 2-1 and 3-1 respectively. Joe and Olsen have yet to wake up here, but we're still early doors. It's not the worst thing in the world. And look at Orgless at the moment here. Austin, you've got number 8, number 5, Vortex and Nasty pushing through mid, and that push works out perfectly. Vortex gets Nolson out of position. Linny also going to fall, but now a 3 versus 2. Joe and Dave, what do you got for us?
Things just flip around, and Dave with the AR might be able to find a pick to be able to create a bit of an advantage. Does spot out Harry, and well, looks like he goes for a pre-fire on Nasty, so they have a good idea of where both players are right now for the side of Orgless. Just a matter of, does Connect 4 want to stick around at this B site, play for a plant, or try to play for rotation? Orgless, they're going to make the decision for them and say, listen, we're coming in from behind. I hope you're ready for this, and Joe is, but can he actually find any value? Both players here trying to back up. Harry's going to reposition inside of jungle with this Krig 6, and I just love the rotation that's being made right now from Connect 4. They are looking to try and maybe cross through mid. Joe does get spotted, and Nasty might be able to make a play.
He's going to go for it, but Nasty doesn't get the kill. Nasty does not get this kill. Joe may well get this bomb down, but Harry's going to peek from basketball. Joe doesn't get the bomb down. The information was given. Orgless knew about the rotation, and now Dave... well, you're in a horrible position here. Of course, Nasty spotted him out. Dave going to go for the reposition, but Nasty has the better weapon for that position and, of course, the information. And that is just really great on Orgless's part. They didn't overcommit to either bomb site. It was a good attempt at a rotation coming in there from Connect 4, but Orgless had their number.
Yeah, the play was up to Nasty right there. He spots Joe on the rotation, and that's what allows Harry to come through the basketball, find that easy pickup, make sure the bomb doesn't go down. And once you're in that situation when the bomb doesn't go down with about 15 seconds left, well, we know how that one typically goes, Brody. It's very difficult because you're kind of waiting to get a challenge individually so you can maybe get the plant, but not going to happen. So 2-1, Orgless bouncing back, and now it's in the middle of the map here again, but look who is ready and waiting. Connect 4. Read it like a book. They find the first 2 kills here at the start of round number 4 and already put themselves in a massive advantage. But we have Josh trying to answer back.
Josh in a bit of a sticky situation at the moment. Nolson not going to check for him, but it doesn't matter as Dave is going to get that kill. A little bit of trust for Connect 4 here in this round. Last player left alive is going to be Nasty. Some shaky shots there in the end, but they do get it done. And hey, this is a very close search and destroy early doors here. Both of these two teams. I mean, there's not really much separating at the moment. It's just coming down to these 50-50 situations.
A lot of mid hits too, which is interesting and something I think that's been happening just a lot more frequently, especially at the start of our raid search and destroys throughout both regions, even in pro play. Just kind of testing the waters to see where the priority is on defense here and there. But back over to the attack, Connect 4. Looking to take a swing round here in round 5. We'll start to make the presence known by the A site. This time there will be a bit of defense as it's Josh up inside of Money. going to be watching over that site, but the bomb's still going to go down nonetheless, so you can't let Nolson get away, and there it is. Josh with a big kill, and now you have a massive advantage on the retake.
It's a bit of an overzealous push, but it doesn't matter anyway, as it has been traded out by Nolson, and now we find ourselves with Connect 4 in, well, that very same position that Orgless were in earlier on. It's Orgless who have to break it this time. Not when Joe is in the back line. He almost gets that kill on a Nasty. That would not have been nice. I might even say it would have been nasty, but now a 1 versus 1. Nasty, the player that was supposed to join the Royal Ravens last year, former teammate in Dave. Dave looking for Nasty. Nasty has to be the one to jump on the bomb, though. Dave playing this perfectly for a time. Nasty now going for the shots. It doesn't matter. Dave has played this to perfection. Nasty, of course, just going to try and look for this last kill. But again, doesn't matter. Dave ends up getting it anyway. Why the hell not?
That's just a veteran play from Dave. You know, he realizes that, I think he hears the jump for sure come up, and then once he gets the mantle cue, he's like, I don't need to challenge this anymore. I just got to play the clock. And even if Nasty does get the kill as he comes for the repeat top again, I don't think he gets that bomb in time whatsoever. So nice play. Even finishes off with a kill, and Nasty getting a couple in the round, just not enough to get the third here for himself. So we will now get 3-2 lead in favor of Connect 4. Dave, 3 in a row for him as he's 7-2 now, Brody. We talked about this being a pretty big grudge match. His old team being Orgless and getting replaced from Harry, looking to maybe get some revenge in this seeding game for as far as who gets the head-to-head over each other and who's going to be able to maybe bump the other one down.
So Orgless on the offense here. They seem content with a B hit. Slide coming in there from Nasty. He's going to get snuffed out because of it. Connect 4 ready for this push. Now it's Orgless going to have to find a way to even the odds, and that's certainly not going to help the situation as Dave ends up taking out Josh. But there is trades. Harry and Vortex. Now Vortex are 1 versus 2. Faces down both players inside Laundry. Cannot do it. And hey, Connect 4 now, giving themselves a little bit of breathing room. They find themselves with a 4-2 advantage, and that could well be everything in a game versus a team like Orgless.
Very well could. Just really bringing the aggression and just coming out with a lot of these kills. The trade's looking good. I mean, Dave was absolutely ripping them apart there for the very first couple of rounds, and now we see Lenny getting involved with the 2 in the last one, so things coming together quite nicely for Connect 4. Looking to maybe put another round up on the board here. Chance to do so, as we'll see if they can in fact get over towards this B site. And well, Orgless just so worried about A kind of going over that they're actually going to stack on that side of the map. But this gives the chance for free launch and control, a free plant, and Orgless, they need to play for retake and need this round.
Got Josh and Harry looking to make this retake work from Laundry. You've also got pressure coming in from Vortex and Nasty on the other side, so this could well work if they hit this together. Unfortunately, Josh is going to fall. There's no trade initially from Harry, and now Harry in a horrible position where he's stuck between a few different players. He is going to fall. Now Nasty and Vortex. This becomes a one-dimensional retake. Nasty going to fall. It's just down to Vortex. 1 versus 2. Time far from on your side, and he's going to fall. Connect 4. A third round on the bounce here, and that was a valiant effort of a retake coming in from Orgless. It was just so unfortunate that they didn't really play together in their pairs enough to get the trades. Yeah,
I just really like the play to hit out the back there. There's not too often that we see launcher control gifted over towards the team on attack, and you're willing to actually give up the back of Laundry to play a bit of a risk to see if you can press forward. And the double team works out on the first kill, and then Harry just gets caught literally between that rock to your right and a hard place between the players, and is just unable to kind of do anything because he's got that Krig and he's waiting for a gunfight to come to him, and it never really comes to him until it's too late. 5-2. Connect 4 all over Orgless in this map number 2, but it's Harry. He opens up with that first kill on towards Lenny. Creates an advantage up top. They almost find another one. Nasty isn't even worried about the player's back Laundry. He's going to go for the immediate plan, and now everyone pressing in. It's Dave who responds back, and now we got a 2v2.
That was a Hail Mary play if I've ever seen one coming out of Orgless. And now Nolson, 1 versus 2. What a way to cut this one off it would be if he's able to pull it. Stun check from Nasty. Now going to know that Nolson is here. So at this point, it's just about damage control. And well, Orgless going to survive to see another round of search and destroy. They're not out of this one just yet.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting, Brody. It's just one of those plays, I feel like, where everything's kind of going wrong, right? You're down 5-2, and it's like, let's just drop the bomb. Let's just send it, man. Let's just see if it works out here for us. And, well, it does work out. So Orgless stay alive, are looking to find what would be 4 rounds in a row. They get the first, so now just 3 in a row to try and make this comeback happen. An important map for them to try and tie things up. Connect 4, though, still very much in control. And they're going to go back to their A site push. No push through this time for Orgless. Vortex almost gets a very crucial kill there on towards Lenny. Would have been the bomb drop and would have also gave you enough information to start rotating over here as well. Harry just checking at the middle of the map, bouncing back and forth between money. But Lenny, he's just going to go for it all and see if he can get this bomb down.
This bomb is going down. They have a man advantage. This is a, well, not their best position for Orgless to retake from now. 2 versus 4. You've got to get players out of the power position. Connect 4, they have numbers to work with. You need to see some individual plays coming out from Orgless now. And there it is. Nasty picks up 2. 25 seconds now to make this one work. And as Josh falls, it all falls on the shoulders of Nasty. He's able to get Dave. There's no way he does this, surely. Gonna go straight for the push. Joe should check this. Joe does. And Nasty looks away at the wrong time. Joe should have this in the bag. Now, Joe's gonna go for the check. Not enough to fall. And this is gonna be Connect 4 closing out the search and destroy. They just play the numbers game there. Nasty almost makes it work, but they're not falling for that one.
Nasty almost does it, man. A full ace almost comes through. Look at the shots there onto Nolson. Like, he wants it, he's trying, and Dave kind of gives it away a little bit too, right? With a pretty over-aggressive challenge. Just kind of have to give a shoulder there. Don't feel like you have to fully commit to see if he's on the bomb or not. But either way, it's almost a gifted round over towards the young gun that we keep talking about. It's not enough. And now this puts them in a very interesting spot. 2-0 down. But Brody, they're going in towards one of their best game modes where they have been just fantastic throughout this stage 2, in control, only dropping just the 1 map. They have to now win this and, well, win 2 more in a row as well if they're going to be able to pull off the win versus the Connect 4 squad here.
Yeah, I mean, let's just back it up for a second and really talk about that search and destroy, right? Because honestly, I don't think there was anything that was inherently going wrong for this Orgless side. I will say that much. I just think it was a lot of the executions that, for whatever reason, Connect 4, they were just winning their 50-50s. And you can tell there's a real hunger on this squad at the moment in time where Connect 4, they want this. They want to win this series. You know, we've talked about at length how much of a grudge match this really is.
And it's tough, man. I feel like this is the first time I believe that they've also played it, and this is one of the favorite maps for Connect 4 as well, where they have been pretty strong on Raid. They love to play it. I mean, you can see why, because they have a lot of set strategies, and it's kind of almost from the set of the tempo where it's like they're pushing mid with like 3 or 4 players, and that's going to throw you off because you're probably never going to send 3 or 4 players there on the defensive round going in towards the first initial one, right? So just kind of these different things that then force them to overstack mid going in towards the other round. So they don't want that to happen again, but then they leave up the ace side. Quick plant goes down. It was a good way that they were able to play it, and again, I think the first time that we've actually seen so far that Orgless has played it. So they throw them off with it. The map vetoes certainly favored them so far, 2-0 up, but going in towards this map number 3 now, you obviously have to win this one if you're going to be able to stay alive in this series. Get us towards our first apocalypse, which is, you know, what I think we've been rooting for a little bit, to see if we can maybe get the map on stream. And there is a chance to do so because they've been so dominant in this game mode. But, I mean, being 0-2 down also not great for morale. So we'll see if they can, in fact, still bring things back for us.
Yeah, let's take a look at the map set for the remainder of this series to really bring you guys through how the rest of this series is going to look. As you've already mentioned, Austin, an Apocalypse Hardpoint is on the cards, and an Express Search and Destroy also. So that will introduce a very interesting dynamic if we do make it to map number 4. But the Garrison control, that's where we're really going to revert our eyes to with this next game. Of course, Connect 4 now 2-0 up in the series. I mean, with this map set, is there any real chance here of Orgless coming back with the reverse sweep? Could it well happen?
I feel like it certainly could. I mean, we know the talent. They finished second last stage. It's just, it feels like throughout this stage there has been some problems. And narrowing that down, you could talk about, you know, being a meta change as well, right? It's certainly a factor from the difference in stage 1 and stage 2. The X and 4 no longer here for us, and that could be something that could be throwing the squad off for, as far as, you know, not having the QBZ throughout Europe, going back to what is traditionally either the Krigs or more subs on the map here. And overall, I feel like it has maybe hindered the squad a little bit. But I mean, going in towards a Garrison, a map where we did see a lot of what Lenny and Nolson were able to do in that map number 1 was taking over up close, winning a lot of important gunfights. And we know that the same thing could absolutely happen here. I mean, between Nasty doing what he just did there on the Search and Destroy, having a decent performance in the map number 1, you need some of those star players that you have on this roster to come alive for you if you are, in fact, going to be able to do it and come away with this map number 3.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say, you know, the one thing that kind of does concern me here is Connect 4, actually. Their hardpoint losses they've had throughout the entirety of this stage so far, they haven't necessarily been blowouts. I'm actually pretty sure that that hardpoint map we've seen was the biggest disparity between Connect 4 and the team that they've lost to, Orgless, and the team that they have lost to in hardpoint. So it's not like Orgless are in the, it's not like Orgless have been terrible at hardpoints, right? I think that's one of the key things here. So they could well win that Apocalypse hardpoint, but on the other hand, we do have this Connect 4 team that seems to be firing on all cylinders. They seem really comfortable in that game mode, so it's going to make for an interesting series. The one thing I will say is Apocalypse, Hardpoint, Express, Search and Destroy, they are still wildcards in European Call of Duty. Last week, they simply were not played. So this is going to be really our first look to see really what these squads are going to be like here on these game modes. And I still think for them, even for these teams, it is going to be pretty fresh. They will have some established strategies, but for the most part, this is still pretty early on in making sure you know those maps 110% for competitions like this. And hey, that may well work in Orgless's favor, but we're ready to get into the next map in the series. It could well be the last one. Garrison control, Orgless 2-0 down, but this is a game mode, as we've said, that does favor them. Can they survive in this series?
They're flawless on it so far, Brody. They have not lost a Garrison control thus far in towards stage 2. But on the other end, you got some good news if you're also a Connect 4 fan, because they're 3-1. They've only dropped this map once, and this is the map that they typically like to play on. So we will see if they're able to kind of keep this going for themselves here, but it is a massive map. This is for seeding. This is for the grudge map. Dave very close to getting revenge on his old squad. Just a matter of making that come through here for himself. Actually close this one out. You don't want to give them any breathing room going in towards the rest of this best of 5. You want to get it done in 3. So we'll see if they can, in fact, actually do that for themselves. As we're right in towards it. Looks about halfway through the first round here. Either way, a lot of control for Connect 4. They are on the defense, and they have a nice line set up right now throughout the middle of the map where they're not letting anyone from Orgless to get through.
Indeed, they are not. Connect 4 at the moment, going to be starting here on the defense, and this is just one of those... It's a really tough map, I think, if you're an offense. I mean, that much is abundantly clear for anybody who's been paying attention to competitive Call of Duty this year. And just look at that, Joe. This is exactly what we mean, right? You just got players sitting in all these nooks and crannies that you have to check on the offense. It's so hard to pull off an offensive win simply because of that. But when you have players having a good start like Joe is at the moment, well, Connect 4, they'll be sitting pretty and happy in this position. They've given themselves a solid life advantage here. Just one player has managed to build through. Nolson should deal with him. And that is a great defensive round for Connect 4. Not that they're that hard to win, but that's as by the book as they get.
Yeah, that's a perfect round. I mean, they didn't get themselves a single tick, and as we jumped into towards this round, you could just see, you know, being set up in the middle of the map, controlling this area right here, top bridge, just weaving subs in and out of the middle of the map, playing in little corners. It just forces these engagements on the attack way earlier than you want to have them, because you need to have those numbers on the zone to actually get some time and progress. So just a perfect round coming through first for Connect 4, carrying a lot of the momentum clearly from where we just saw the last 2 maps at. But this is now going to be switching sides. Connect 4, they are on the attack, and we'll see if Orgless can maybe do the same thing.
See what Orgless are able to do here on the defense. Good start coming out from Connect 4 though. Dave and Nolson able to pick up the first couple of bloods. Joe and Dave now going to follow up with some kills of their own, and this is a great start for Connect 4. They're able to win all the initial engagements, essentially surge onto this B zone, and now the question is, how do Orgless try to retake this site? They're looking for green control. Nobody's there to challenge them just yet, which is a little bit of an odd choice coming in from Connect 4, but you feel they might be wanting to just take the fight on the point. But Joe is here. Joe is here. He is taking this point for his own. Streaks now for Joe as well, and what a monumental start this has been for this Connect 4 lineup.
Oh no, Brody, they're already on A too. Because they all go down and commit towards defending the B zone, they don't have anyone set up for A. But it is Nasty and Harry. They find a couple of key kills to make sure there's still a chance at being able to come back. Nolson up top though with the AR. Couple players on him. It is a little spinorama, but not going to be able to bring home either one. So you can take a bit of a breather here if you are Orgless. You're able to now set up top green, get some players in towards the map here, and take away everything you possibly can from Connect 4. But they're back on the surge right through the middle. They're going to be able to find an opening as it's Joe who gets that first kill. It is going to be now a double for Harry, Vortex with 3, and they're able to stabilize even further as Vortex looks to push up.
Now look, there's 95 seconds or so left on the clock here. That's quite a bit of time for a Connect 4 to make this one work. For Orgless, they're going to have to deal with a few more than a few pushes. But they do have the power positions. Nasty inside green. Does let Dave slip on by. They'll be well aware of the fact that a player probably has filtered through mid by now and actually going to back on up here to regroup with his teammates. Joe going to bring up that cruise missile. And here we go. We're going to see what he's able to do with it. He's just, I think, going to try and make sure that nobody's in small. So it's not an ineffective cruise missile per se, but it's just going to be zone checking effectively.
Yeah, but look at this up top. Josh finds the pinch, and now they're able to kind of just go right for the zone itself. Harry finds Linny. Nolson, he is under so much pressure right now, and to take a miracle play. He does find that first one. Harry won't let him slip and slide. He'll make sure he gets here and will, in fact, stabilize once again. So they get one of the streaks out, but they get 2 ticks of progress on A. So one good push is all it's going to take to close this round out and go 2-0 up in the control.
It's not like they're down by lives either, right? It's not like Orgless have that advantage. You just need one good push. One good push is all this takes, and you get Vortex round the back line. If you do a Nasty as well, this defensive line may well just fall apart. There's the kill from Linny, and now it's just Harry and Josh on the point. And Harry picks up 2 actually inside the kill feed. Dave on green, able to pick up 1, but does get traded out. And now it is just Linny. There's actually only 20 seconds here on the clock, so Linny's going to have to make a play to at the very least slow that down. But elsewhere, Vortex picks up 2, and that effectively is going to push Connect 4 all the way back here. This is going to be a huge round win. If Orgless were to manage it, I don't know if there's even enough time for Connect 4 to really get there. They're going to try. You got to get past Harry. It was Nasty, sorry, who sat in the corner. And Orgless clutch up. Vortex, that last 2-piece was crucial to making sure that Connect 4 spawned all the way out.
Oh man, being able to stabilize there is just so big for Orgless. You feel like things probably just get out of hand if you lose that defensive push you were setting up there in towards the back as the streak came in. But because Joe doesn't find anything with that cruise missile, it gives them time and it gives them the numbers to still come back in towards that zone and actually play some defense. And while they clear things out beautifully, as Harry starting to heat up for himself, 13-6. He played a massive role in that last round too. So things are tied up, staying alive for sure, but they need to have a much better offense this time around. They didn't even really get to touch the zone in round number 1. We'll see if that indeed does change for us as Vortex, he finds a route through the middle of the map. No one fully watching it. Could instead maybe back up. A little hesitant on what the decision will be. As shots come through, he gets information. There's the opening. They're going to find 3 down, and Vortex might be able to start pressing forward for some map control inside of bricks.
Nolson just going to have to back on up, make sure that the player who has filtered on through bricks isn't causing any issues on the point. Vortex is still here, though. Good slide out from Dave. Does take him down, so they are able to zone out Orgless from bricks. Now they've got to deal with the threat coming straight through green, and that is going to be Josh. What can he do? Well, he's able to pick up Linny, turns around. Dave is there. Dave's going to win that gunfight. Huge one to win. That will stop any momentum from Orgless here, making their way on through green. That could have been a straight jump onto the point, but elsewhere, B is going to fall. So Orgless not in a terrible position.
Nasty comes to the middle. It's going to be cut down, as we'll see a couple of members up on the map, but they got to get through these first couple positions behind lights and inside of bricks, and this is just really good teamwork right now, controlling everything. Connect 4 are going to be able to start pressing up themselves. Do not want anyone to get in behind so that they can start to ignite the push to A through bricks and through connector. Plenty important rollback here and has a bit of support. Dave just bobbing and weaving in and out here with that Krig 6. Harry finds that first one. Lenny now needs to convert for some kills. He gets himself one, almost gets the second, but Nasty, room to start moving through as Dave, left alone on the zone, almost finds Nasty, but there's the breakthrough. Nolston with the trade. Make sure Nasty's not up to anything more, and they're going to be able to continue to defend this zone.
Joe pushing all the way up. This is huge. That is a massive wave of kills coming in from Connect 4. They're able to stabilize now. They pushed Orgless all the way back. There is quite a lot of time here for Orgless to come together and get out of their spawn. But remember, you got to remember, the more time you take here to do this, to regroup, and if it goes wrong, that's a lot of time wasted. So you got to make sure this push works. Vortex has been able to filter through Dark. He will cause some problems here for Connect 4. He effectively is now going to open the floodgates. Orgless can now push through, and Vortex can cause some problems inside spawn.
Vortex needs to make some moves, needs to find some kills. He gets info on Dave, but he's up top of the AR, and we'll shrug him off of the heady for now. 2 HP. Vortex got a bit of help from Harry, but from the side, Joe is good for the kill. 26 seconds. Got to make a move happen, and while they're starting to get over towards the site, but the kills need to come through. Nasty and Josh, they find it. Josh going big for 2. He gets on the zone. They will stop the clock at 20. A chance still to make this attack pay off as it's Connect 4 having to get here to see if they can clear out the zone once again.
Orgless there. Connect 4, you gotta go. You cannot let this progression go as fast as it is right now. Got player inside. Bricks, that's going to be Vortex. He's going to fall. So now it's all on Harry. 1 versus 3 on the point. What do you got for us? Well, apparently not a lot. Now 15 seconds on the clock. Time is ticking down. Nasty is going to wait patiently just for the moment so that Josh and Vortex can get in position. But you got to go at some point. Here he goes. Straight onto the point. Will fall. Josh on the other side. He's going to fall. And now Vortex and Harry, you got to go up against Joe, who's on a 4 spree. Looking for the last kill. Will actually fall. So Vortex now inside the point. Connect 4 in a 3 versus 2. The numbers in their favor. It's now just down and Nasty, all left alone. And that was, again, a valiant effort coming out from Orgless to try and capture the point, but it's a good clutch coming out from Connect 4 in the end.
Oh, that was close. I wasn't sure if that was actually going to be a hold. I mean, it looked like at one point in time it was like a 3 versus 6 or 7, something like this. They found a lot of kills in a row, and then they were able to at least stay on that zone contested. But a couple of clutch kills end up coming through in the end, and holding on for the defense will in fact be Connect 4 2-1 up. Just defense for defense for defense for the first 3 rounds for us. But things could still shake up going in towards round 4. I want to say that Joe held on towards that artillery strike, just holding a bit of discipline, not looking to use it in that last round. We'll see if that is in fact still up and available here for him as we do get ourselves in towards the round number 4. And it's going to be Joe, aggressive, right in towards the middle. Finds that first kill. Harry with the response, and well, it's Nasty as well, but trades back and forth we go. Josh finds an opening to take away one of the power positions here, and he's going to be able to stabilize on the bridge once again with his teammate Nasty.
Connect 4 at the moment, looking to find their way out of the spawn. This control round, it would mean they 3-0 this series, and what a statement that would be against the runners-up of Stage 1 in Orgless, a team that was dominating the headlines here in European Challengers for a very long time in Stage number 1. Well, it's a good start from Orgless here. Pretty by the book. Nasty pushed all the way up inside artillery. Connect 4 trying to find their way out. Dave's going to fall. And Orgless doing such a great job of just making sure Connect 4 don't have any room to breathe inside the spawn. And they cannot find anything here, Austin.
It's very difficult. I mean, you got 18 seconds. You really want to maybe hold on towards the lives. I think Connect 4 realized that. They want to play for the defense going in towards the next round. And, well, if you take a look at the scoreboard, looks like they should be good here for it. 24 for Harry, though. Makes it a bit deceiving. 4 seconds left. No one makes a move. Connect 4 to be able to play their lives. And we'll see if they do, in fact, come in towards this defense. Holding that round 5, where that has been the story the whole way through for us, Brody. And we know how valuable it can be to have the defensive round. We've had some close offenses come through for us, just have not been secured round wins. We'll see if that ends up changing coming in towards our last one, where it has to be a win for Orgless. And, well, look where it is. They are on the attack, Brody, and they got to make something happen.
Orgless, this is so hard to win, right? Offenses on Garrison control. They are extremely hard to pull off, but of course, Orgless have got close in both offensive rounds. They made it all the way down to that A zone. Taking B was no problem. Will it be the same case again here as Joe comes through? Dark able to pick up 2. Can you get Harry as well? As most certainly spot him out. But again, at this point, Joe is just going to waste time in this position. Will finally fall. Nolson going to fall as well, though. And that's a big 2-piece for Harry to make. You got Vortex now over towards A, causing a distraction play, while the rest of his Orgless team, they have full control over this map, and they're actually going to go straight for A.
Oh my, they are actually putting in work, and Harry's now on 5 in a row. Streaks this late in towards the game could just be the deal breaker for as far as getting success going on towards the attack. A is still going over slowly but surely. That first tick has been locked in. Vortex wants to create some space inside of bricks. He is denied. Nolson and Linny slowly but surely collapsing on Harry, who's on the streak here, and well, he's going to take a little dip outside the map as the artillery is called in, but it still manages to find him and connect 4. They will find all 4 for themselves. This is now pressure on Orgless as they have to bounce back, and they got 40 seconds to do it.
40 seconds here, Austin, for Orgless to find their way over towards this point. All the kills are going Connect 4's way, though. Nolson able to shut down Vortex. Connect 4. They have done such a great job there at batting away Orgless. There is just 25 seconds left here on the clock. That is not a lot of time to work with. Joe able to pick up 1. Orgless, they are sent away here. And there's just no time. So you've got to go. You've got to go now. Harry, he's able to pick up 1. Linny, looking to come in behind, though, cause problems. He has been spotted out by Josh, so Linny has to be dealt with. And he is. It's going to be Nasty who does exactly that. Now, Orgless, on this point, they're looking to get a capture here. It will add another minute to the clock.
Well, if they can get this capture, it's going to relieve a bit of pressure, but still, down slightly in lives is Connect 4. Orgless could look to do it. They're now stacking the zone with 2. This could be good, and yet you chalk this up right now. Connect 4, they got to make a move over towards A because both zones are being pressured at the same time. This would be a crazy comeback if they're able to do it. Vortex from the side, able to get himself a kill, but Linny and Nolson, they're going to hold strong on A. B goes over. You have a minute to work with. It's 12-9 in lives in favor of the team on attack. So Orgless, they have some room to work with, Brody, but we'll see how they look to break in towards the zone.
Got 50 seconds here. They are down by 3 lives. Just looking to make this push happen in the back. You got to deal with Joe in this position. You also technically have to deal with Dave as well. But Joe is the first problem. He is not dealt with. Vortex looking to get away. Linny takes down Nasty. Vortex, he falls. And Connect 4, they do a great job at keeping Orgless away. Every single kill is going their way. Everything going wrong for Orgless. And you've just got 20 seconds to make this one work. Connect 4 have all the cards in their favor at the moment. And every single kill is just going their way. Josh and Nasty, the last players left alive here at this point in time. Josh is there. He gets traded out. There's no time for Orgless to do this. Connect 4 will come out with a 3-0 here, and what a performance it was across all 3 maps. A crazy clutch there in round number 5. Extremely well played from this roster.
They gave him the first loss on this map mode combination as well. It was an absolute wild barn burner that just took place. I mean, it really comes down to the defenses when you look back on it, right? Whatever team is on the defense is closing out these rounds, but we had a couple of very close offenses that just about went over, and I feel like I got to give a lot of credit towards Joe because Joe was disciplined enough to actually hang on towards that artillery strike until that final round to where it actually mattered. He realizes that, all right, I got to use the artillery here. I got to clear off some space. That also shut Harry down on that spree. That maybe could have played the difference as well for as far as locking in a cruise missile and artillery strike that gives them maybe some room to work with for capturing a full zone over by A, but not the case. Just great utility. Being held until the final moments when it really matters is what is going to allow them to get away with that 3-0, right, Brody? Insane. Absolutely insane.
One of the things that, I think we were kind of looking at this Connect 4 squad is the fact that their first week, they played through teams that you would expect them to essentially beat, especially looking at the standings now. They played through what is, I guess, labeled as the softer side of the group. But their last 3 games were versus Galacticos, Passion, and then here versus Orgless. The games versus Galacticos and Passion, although they were losses, were hard fought. And you have to feel overnight, you let those stew, you kind of go back, fix up a couple of things, then you come back just looking that much better. And they were able to do it largely on maps that they played versus Galacticos and Passion. So the corrections that were made right there from Connect 4, absolutely astonishing. Now, just to give you the implications overall, we talked about this, Infinity. Really, this is a battle for seeding. Not an opportunity for either of these two teams to get into the top 2 to instantly be in playoffs. Really also beyond that, no chance for either team to really be relegated. So this is really just a placement match, all things said and done. That said, though, I feel like we just kind of found almost maybe a new favorite in Europe, because Connect 4 came out against a very good Orgless team and never really gave them a chance to breathe, let alone even look at a win.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I think this is going to be a tale of two very different teams, you know, coming out of this matchup. Orgless at the moment, I think there are a couple of issues that they might want to fix, some holes in their gameplay that they definitely did show there in that game. But, you know, for Connect 4, they're a team that I think have been sat in the shadows for a very long time. Since Dave joined this roster, I don't think they've been that impressive, to be honest. I think they've sort of been what we'll call a mid-level team here in Europe. They've never managed to, I think, rise to the heights that we kind of expected from them. And now I think they have a real chance to do that. Having beat Orgless like this, they are showing serious promise. The lineup they have at the moment, they look really good.
And it puts you in a position where I feel like overall, again, like you get to finish your group stage with a pretty significant win before you have to go into that knockout bracket overall. So Vision's kind of the same thing for you. You're going the same way, maybe a bit more favorable towards this C4 squad now that they've found a pretty convincing win here.
Well, I mean, it definitely looks great. I think the fact that they're able to close this out in 3 is really what surprises me, because I was expecting this to go to 4 simply for the fact that Orgless just looked really good in control, right? They've only dropped a map. I thought that they were going to be able to kind of do the same and at least get us towards the second hardpoint here. So I would say that, yeah, things are looking up right now for this Connect 4 lineup. You know, they have stuck together. Things may be starting to finally click. And I also thought that you have to give some credit towards Nolson and Lenny, who I don't think are, you know, necessarily the best subs for as far as the European challengers, but they put on a hell of a performance for that very first initial game and kind of made a difference for as far as maybe what's been lacking on this squad, which has been a consistent front line. So yeah, I think Connect 4 have the ability to still make some waves going in towards playoffs.
Indeed, indeed. Well, we'll take a look over at our schedules here really quickly. Again, there are other matches that are going on, but for our focus, we'll be taking things to Train Hard versus Elite 2. Now, a couple of updates as far as what's going else around otherwise, rather, in the group stage. Team Passion is currently up 2-0 versus 67K, and Team Moon up 2-0 currently versus Los Galacticos. So, really at this point in time, with the win here, you know, you're kind of looking at what is going to happen in the lower end of the standings overall, in which that match between Train Hard and Elite 2 very well could influence that when we have a chance to watch it. So for now, we'll step away just for a brief moment, let the teams get set up for that match, and we'll be coming back to take a look at Train Hard going up against Elite 2. This will be our final regular group stage matchup before we consider what the playoff and knockout brackets will look like. We'll come back to cover it right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Well, a very anticlimactic first series for us. A bit surprising, to say the least. I think we were all kind of looking at that Orgless and Connect 4 game with hopeful eyes that it would provide some insight before both teams would eventually get to the knockout bracket next week. But, of course, my whole shift with me, Visions, and Infinity, and staging things up for our next matchup. We'll take a look at Trainhard going up against Elite 2. And Visions, I just kind of want to start things off talking about this Trainhard roster first and foremost, because they lose Hydra. He goes to America, now playing with Subliners Academy, looking very good, by the way, over there. But Trainhard seems to have lost their star-studded power. What has been happening with them so far in this second stage?
I feel like right now they're losing a lot of their slaying power, right? You see Hydra was a big part of that as you take a look at some of the KDs, not only in the respawns, but in the search and destroy as well, which was, I feel like, some of their higher moments that they were having throughout stage 1 here for themselves. So now you're missing that insane frontline that was maybe giving you a lot of those last second wins, being able to kind of push you over the edge in some of those hard points and controls, and you have just lost that. So I don't think that the rest of the squad is really able to kind of step up to that level that they really need to be able to match the rest of the squads currently that we have in EU Challengers, and they're really feeling that, right? I mean, any team that probably loses Hydra is going to feel that at some point, but it's still like they can't bounce back from it, even with the new addition, bringing in Eric, swapping him back out. So I think there's just a lot of changes, and they haven't been able to find their footing because of it.
And the 1.5 KD that Hydra brings to Search and Destroy was one of the reasons that Trainhard was doing so successfully in the last stage. Infinity, they're 2-4 in Search, but their differential actually makes them the 7th overall team in Europe when it comes to Search and Destroy. They've been lacking in that mode without question.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, Trainhard generally just have been lacking. It doesn't matter about specific modes. They have been lacking. And I think it's kind of surprising, actually, because they brought in Detain, and I highly rate Detain as a main SMG player. You know, obviously, there is no like-for-like replacement for Hydra. He is, I think some have described him as a generational talent, and so Trainhard, they have just struggled to replace him, whether it be with Eric Boom or Detain. But now they are already relegated from Stage 2. They go up against Elite 2 here in a matchup that is effectively, I think, just to try and maintain their pride.
Indeed, it will be myself and Infinity on the cast for this one, so we'll jump back in, discuss Europe at large with Vision that we're done with the series. But for Elite 2, they're just kind of playing for seeding at this point in time. Trainhard, unfortunately, with their 1-5 current record, will not be able to see an opportunity to get into the knockout bracket, so they're just playing for a little bit of pride and maybe try to correct some of their mistakes. You know, obviously a day late and a dollar short, but it would be nice to kind of end the season on a W. But so far here in the raid Hardpoint, things looking very positive for Elite 2 as Hockey's able to find a couple of eliminations, 3 in a row to be specific, and with that 20+ seconds on the first hill.
You're not going to see a rogue spawn coming in here from Henry, actually, so he's positioned quite well for this rotation coming in from Trainhard early on, but he has quite a bit to do. And of course, Henry, one of the newer players to this Trainhard lineup, brought over from Team Looty, unfortunately unable to do anything there. Whalers, now the last player, an AK-74U in hand, bit uncharacteristic for Whalers here, but maybe he'll be able to do something with it inside the Hardpoint. Elite 2 currently in, Whalers facing the full theory of quite a few nades.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that we kind of come to expect from Elite 2 when it comes to their hard point. Not the greatest overall so far in the Elite stage, but they have played a lot of raid, and even though they still hold a negative win-loss record, they're 2-3 in the map, a lot of their losses were pretty darn close. 2 of them in specific were like 210 to 250. Only one real bad loss that they've fared so far, and you're seeing all that experience really paying off at large. Wardy, even with a little bit of a pinch to the middle of the map, that'll put him on 6 in a row, working for potential streaks, but it will be Henry who doubles down to make sure that streaks will not be on the cards.
Trainhard looking for the scrap time here. That is going to be helpful, but what an opening this has been overall. Right shift for Elite 2. They get this scrap time. They've given Trainhard all of, what, 3 points? This is a stellar start from Elite 2, and this has been, I think, a general surprising roster throughout Stage 2. Definitely the Dark Horse team that nobody expected to make it here, right?
No, it's just one of those things that they have stuck together and played as a collective squad really after the first qualifier, but they didn't really find a lot of success. I mean, for all 4 of these guys, largely just top 32 finishes, but then they come together, they finish top 32, top 16, then 4th, then they qualify. So there's definitely been a lot of progress here for Elite 2, and even in the last couple of days, they've been playing teams a lot closer than they kind of started off this second stage, and you're starting to see all that time together really is paying dividends against this Trainhard roster, already above the century mark, only 18 points given away in the meantime to Trainhard.
How is Hawkeye still alive in this hill? Finally, they take him down, but that is so much damage done, right? Again, that's what, 10, 15 seconds where he's able to essentially salvage. And Trainhard, they are fighting for scraps over and over and over again. That was their rotation. I'm unsure exactly how they ended up losing it, but now we move over towards the new rotation. Trainhard, you gotta find your way in. Keza and Detain are the closest players for this.
It's going to be interesting because, I was going to say, the only real avenue they have available is to get through the cutout window, and that is by no means safe because it's really just a coffin corner where nades can come in no problem. So that's read by Elite 2. Already 15 seconds has come and gone, and there really hasn't been an effort to even break the spawns, let alone the hard point. So Trainhard, a little bit of indecision, needs to be figured out, and as Whaler finds first blood, that'll be the go call, but just as soon as the light turned green, it may just turn red again. Detain tagged up heavily, even though he finds a couple of kills. He will be forced back out of the hard point. Elite 2 are just happy to walk right back in and soak up some more time.
This is just crazy. Elite 2, they're getting every single second. I don't really know what to say, to be honest. Trainhard are just not having a good game here. Every single player across the board is negative. This is extremely uncharacteristic of this Trainhard roster. But again, for you folks at home, Trainhard are already eliminated at this point. It is already done. So for this matchup for them is, again, effectively just padding the stats. They can also, still technically speaking, affect the overall round of things here in terms of tiebreaker situations, what's happening with Team Moon and 67k. Of course, that 67k match also going on at the moment. But as we avert our eyes back over towards this hill, once again, Shift, it's Elite 2. They're in the hard point. Raffi wins a gunfight that could be important later on for rotations.
This is just textbook raid hardpoint coming out of Elite. Now, granted, Trainhard are being very timid when it comes to trying to make plays happen. You know, when you're looking at them to be proactive and execute, they're still like kind of waiting for like the perfect storm to come through, and it's allowing a chance for Elite 2 to read the situation and adjust accordingly. Now, finally, Trainhard will find a way to convincingly break up a hard point, but even that is still going to only get them just barely above 60 points. I mean, they're still down 110, and you see the minimap right now. Elite 2, those red arrows are already ready to go for this first hard point coming up, including Hawkeye just trying to pinch up the old hill. He's already found 2 kills. It's going to force Whalers to stay stationary, and as the first hard point opens up, it's Elite 2 dominating the kill feed. It's back to 100+ differential in the score.
And this Elite 2, again, in the lead by quite a margin. Trainhard at the moment looking to close that gap. This is a good opportunity for them to do that, as Keza and Detain gonna duo up here with their AK-74Us to break on in. Elite 2 not gonna want to overcommit to this. If they give it this time, not the worst thing in the world. They've already got the spawns for that next hard point, but they are gonna go on for it straight on through outer. This is a lovely surge from Elite 2. They use their strength in numbers to push on through. Hawkeye on a 5 spree is shut down. Trainhard now going to have to fight from the other side of the map for the rotation, but they might just be gifted this scrap.
Yeah, there's no reason not to go for it if you're Elite 2. I mean, it's 35 seconds on the time. Even if you do kind of let someone sneak through kitchen, it's only one player, so there's still enough influence for you to come back around, recognize that, hey, we spawned out. Let's go ahead and make sure we clear the back. So you get a little bit of a break. It's not a significant one when it comes to the overall determination of who actually wins that first hard point, but it's still a hit that you approve of, I think, generally speaking. So now Elite 2, they are in position to lock things down by kitchen. Detain wants to go a little bit of right to left and left to right to see what exactly is happening inside. But just as soon as he does, it's going to be the SMGs of Elite 2 recognizing the situation and says, we're not interested in letting you sit at our front door. Grad's going to hit a pinch, and we're just going to clear things up and put ourselves over the 200-point mark very early on.
Again, this is just not time you want to give away. If you're Trainhard, they're going to attempt to come on through the front. Wardy deals the first kill. The trade is going to be there from a nice Semtex from Keza, though. Raffi able to pick up 2 Whalers, the last man standing. He falls, and now Trainhard still looking to come off the spawn here and put a stop to Elite 2 inside this hill. Elite, though, I mean, with 15 seconds left, you'd expect Trainhard are going to give this time up, and Elite 2 will just be a sliver away from victory here, Shift, as we go over towards the new rotation.
And as we get deeper into this game, you're starting to recognize, I think, just by looking at the stats over on Trainhard's side, what's going wrong. Their SMGs are doing effectively nothing. Your best player KD-wise is Whalers, and he's also got the most amount of hardpoint time. So that means your SMGs are not successful on breaking, and they're not successful on zoning these hardpoints. That's why you're looking at 11 and 19, 11 and 18, and 14 and 23. It's a lot of interactions, so that they're giving the right attempts. It's just they're not winning the gunfight. So Elite 2, just as soon as we kind of talk about some of the follies of the SMG line, they use that and abuse it, and they find themselves a very clean win. 250-109, my goodness.
I mean, it never really felt like Trainhard's cared enough, I won't lie, about that map. It never felt like they were trying. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those tough ones, isn't it? Because again, you kind of have to remember, in context for everyone at home, this match has zero bearing on what happens with Trainhard other than they can maybe pad their stats in the standings. So them taking that loss, they're not going to be too upset by it. And again, it just, for them there, it just looked like they could never really get anything going.
I wouldn't say that they're coming in not caring. I don't think that's really fair to say. I think they absolutely care. It's just, it felt to me like they were just kind of tapping around instead of fully committing. And that decision making is something that we've kind of seen and we've marked on before when it comes to watching this Trainhard team play, especially in the respawns in their prior games in the group stage. Moments where you've got, like we mentioned, Detain is going and sliding back and forth, just trying to see what's going on inside the Hardpoint. And that allows an opportunity for Elite 2 to sit there and say, hey, we know they're in the front. We've gotten a lot of damage in this guy who's trying to finesse us. Let's just push them out in zone and get that little pinch play that you saw kind of Grad that he was able to use to clear that front door and Kitchen in that second rotation in the second Hardpoint. That just shows that it feels like Trainhard is just not fully committing to the play. Get your read, get your information, and go. There's no reason to sit and kind of flirt with the idea of making a commitment, especially when you're trying to break. Kind of saw the same thing happen on our first rotation on the basketball Hardpoint. Their only option was to get through that cutout window if they wanted to influence spawns, and no one was really kind of committing to making that play happen. So I wouldn't sit there and say that they don't care and it doesn't matter. Well, in the end, you still want to win at the end of the day. It just comes down to, I feel like their decision-making was not decisive or clear enough as far as what the game plan was, especially when it came to trying to get a break and play for that Raid Hardpoint.
Yeah, I mean, I will say one thing. I mean, Raid Hardpoint is quite clearly a map mode combination that they are not good at. They were 0-3 in it coming into this series, now 0-4. They've yet to win one, so it's not all that surprising that they didn't win it here. And of course, I mean, that was our just look, really, wasn't it, at what was going wrong there for them on Raid Hardpoint. Let's take a look at our map set then for this series to really go through with you guys how the rest of the series is going to look. Of course, Moscow Search and Destroy is going to be the next one up. And this is actually a game map mode combination here, Shift, that will actually favor Trainhard. They're 2-0 here in this map mode combination compared to the 0-2 of Elite 2.
Yeah, this is where Trainhard, we talked about it at the top of the show here, that they really do miss Hydra. His 1.5 KD from stage 1 was by far the best that they had available to them going into the Search and Destroy. And it's hard to say because of him not being there, the team has found losses. That's not necessarily the case, kind of one for oneing it. Moscow, by far, yes, their best map, but even their losses that they've fared on maps like Miami and Raid were pretty close. Round 9 at the least, a couple of 4-6 losses and around 11 loss. So their Search and Destroy, even though they're just 2-4 in the mode overall, it's not what I would say to be a super vulnerability to them. I still look first and foremost at their Hardpoint. They've largely played the same maps, largely not to a lot of success. So their Search and Destroy, you need to be able to come back into this one on a map that so far, statistically, you're flawless on just by the 2-0. Again, small sample size, so don't look into that too much, I suppose. But if you can come out, take the Moscow Search and Destroy, you get into what is arguably one of your better modes, which would be that control. So there's an opportunity here for Trainhard still to kind of find some favor. It just comes down to, can you actually convert on it as we get into this Moscow Search and Destroy?
One thing I will say as well, we have had it confirmed now that Passion just beat 67k 3-1. That confirms that Team Moon will be the final team qualifying for Stage 2 knockouts here. And we do see 67k going home alongside this Trainhard lineup. But back to the Search and Destroy at hand. Trainhard looking to start strong here on the offense. Unfortunately for Keza, he's going to get caught with his pants down by Wardy. And actually, this is a great resurgence coming in from Trainhard. Yeah. They immediately flip this round on its head. They leave Grad in a 1 versus 3.
It's a lot of SMGs for Trainhard as well. They're trying to get Mixie in and around the globe and then eventually make a play over towards B. Now, Grad's timing here is going to be everything because he is walking technically right by Detain, does turn around to find him. So that first kill of a 1v3 made much easier, but the problem is you've got to go up against Whalers, who's sitting on top of a bus with an AR. Difficult to do. So again, that Mixie SMG lineup really kind of winning out the day towards this B street, and this is a very important kill, AR v AR, Whalers on 1 HP. That really is what opens up that B-bomb site overall.
Good play coming out from Trainhard, flipping that round on its head right out of the gate here. We said they're 2-0 here in this map mode combination. Trainhard seems to be quite apt at it. We'll see whether or not they're able to continue as they started, though, as Trainhard on the defense here, going for an A hit. Unfortunately, that was not the right call. Elite 2 have sent themselves over towards B, but at the moment, they're just getting a feel for what's going on.
And just to kind of give the other side of the statistic, as this round will be pretty passive from the offensive Elite 2. They've actually never played this map in Elite so far. They've largely done a lot of their search and destroy in Miami and Raid. So the fact that they are kind of going to a map that, again, you know that you're already into the knockout bracket. There's really not a lot of opportunity for you to get into the playoffs overall. Like, just to get right there as the top 2 squad, might as well give it a try. But a lot of utility allows Keza to get freed up through bricks for the first 2 kills. Hockey's not going to be interested in trying to take the challenge, but backing down, he runs into Detain, leaving things just up to Wardy. Nothing to find there. And yeah, Trainhard, very solid defense over the A site.
Just one of those situations, isn't it, for Elite 2, where they changed their mind, went to the bomb site where Trainhard had already committed themselves to. And it works out perfectly, especially with the defensive line in terms of SMGs on this Trainhard roster. It is built around the SMG role, isn't it, really? You've got Keza, Henry, and Detain, all of which are very good if you put an SMG in their hands.
I couldn't tell you who their second AR is because they never run a second AR, it feels like.
I imagine it's either Henry or Keza. Probably Henry.
That would be where I'd guess, but like we just never see them running 2 ARs, it feels like. So it's kind of hard to like sit there and say, yes, this is the second AR for sure. And well, Trainhard looking to stay aggressive offensively. This is going to be a heavy stack over towards the A hit.
Rafi looking to take the first shots. Will do so, but no kill from just yet. Grad, though, picks up 2. Finally, maybe a round going Elite 2's way here, as it's just Whalers and Henry left up. Henry's able to get 1. Henry's able to get 2. Does get traded out this time, though. And now Whalers, the staple player for Trainhard Esport on this roster, was with them in the Modern Warfare season, is with them once again here, now in a 1 versus 2. What do you do?
And the thing about this, as you see Elite 2 are wrapping back through the middle, they've cleared a ton of space. So there's only a couple of spots he could be as you come up Eskies. And, well, one of them, and the more common one, would be right on the top of those stairs. I love that retake attempt, really, from Elite 2. I know it's a 2v1 situation, and there should be favor just based on the numbers. But the fact of the matter is they take that re-wrap right back around the middle, because Whalers is technically a part of this initial hit. They saw him when they were playing through bricks. And so you have to figure that he either backed out through Eskies or he backed up through the open stairs. So what do? You get out of the A site, clear the middle where Eskies' exit would have been, and then you sit there and say, well, he's not there, so he's either on the A bomb site or he's playing the open stairs. And they kind of split up and have one player go one way, one go the other, and they track him down and find some good timing. This time for Elite 2, looking to make a play very aggressively over to B. There are no defensive members here. The first player that would be able to read this would be Henry, and I say that very kind of loosely because he's not going to get an angle to actually get information on how many numbers are through this B site already.
So Elite 2, they've got control of the bomb site. Intrigued to see what they do with the post-plant positioning here. Some teams actually go straight out. This isn't really an option here for this Elite 2 roster, as Trainhard are already pretty close by. Whalers and Henry looking to get a retake going. Hawkeye has an engagement or 2 to deal with over towards Glow. That's going to be Detain and Keza. And there goes the push in. Henry, he is going to fall. Whalers able to get 2, though. Wardy looking elsewhere, isn't looking at where Whalers is at all. Somehow Whalers is able to get yet another one, and now maybe an ace on the cards for Whalers. A 2 versus 1. Hawkeye in no man's land. Gonna have to go for the check here. Hawkeye elsewhere, puts the shots in, but does get taken down by Detain, and that is going to be a great play coming in there from Trainhard.
And the reason why, again, kind of talking about it, there's very little information for Trainhard as far as how many members for Elite 2 have gotten into the B site. But that route that Whalers takes, I believe, with Henry right behind them, they have to clear out the boulevard. Before you can retake the site, you've got to make sure you've got an entrance by that bus stop. And they do a really nice job working as a collective just off the screen from that play of the game to clear that space. And then you get a free entry to hit from multiple angles onto the B site itself. The entire time, Henry was just making sure nobody rewrapped it. Really beautiful discipline from Trainhard. You're really starting to see why exactly they prefer this map when it comes to search and destroy. Beautiful retake execution.
Now we see whether or not Trainhard are able to continue with their venom. They're now on the offense. Elite 2 have stacked quite heavily over towards that A site, but you can see them on the minimap now, wrapping over towards B. Trainhard have taken so long here that actually the opportunity to go for A has still presented itself. Grad takes those first 2 shots in, so now the information has been gained. I believe he saw both Henry and Keza in this position. So Elite 2 now know that at the very least, it could well be a B, and that would be the right call.
And Grad, he was kind of going back and forth, checking to make sure nobody rotated back over to A. He's just kind of checking inside Laundry, checking back over towards the middle. This is all about trying to play for a retake, though, if you're Elite 2. Nades will come through, but a little bit later than the push actually was developing for Trainhard, but Grad still finds first blood, and really at this point, Trainhard is in a really awkward position, flying out his hockey for 1 kill, but the trades are still efficient. Rafi would need to go and get a 1v2 here.
Oh! Gets the kill against Attain. Lovely shot punch. And now a 1 versus 1. 25 seconds on the clock, though, for Rafi to do this. Of course, an ex-Search and Destroy star, Rafi has been in many situations just like this, but there's only 18 seconds on the clock for Rafi to make this one work. He cannot find Whalers. Whalers, of course, going to check it. Rafi spotting him out, but at this point, too little, too late. Just going to go for the kill to maybe prevent any potential streaks. And Whalers, a few extra bullets in the body there, my friend. They're enjoying this Search and Destroy.
It's one of those situations that, for the side of Elite 2, if they throw all of that utility that we saw coming in a second or two early, they get a more aggressive read on Trainhard is indeed taking the B site. You kind of saw the setup. Wardy was playing inside of the police station, and then, like I mentioned, Grad was just kind of going back and forth, checking middle, checking Laundry, and I think it was Hockey was the last player that was around. He was just holding passive to make sure that nobody was actually pushing through the B site. So all of it was about trying to read information, and when they decided to throw the utility, it was a touch too late. Trainhard already gotten the bomb planted, and now this time Elite 2 going to test the waters over through Reskies. Won't see anything initially, and now they're 4-man stacked in the middle of the map.
Elite 2 going for a very quick wrap here. Nobody actually from Trainhard is in the bomb site, so they will not be able to prevent this plant unless they go for a very quick push in. And hey, that might well still happen. They choose to hesitate for a moment, and that is going to be punished here as Whaler is able to pick up the kill on a Rafi. Grad does escape his life, but wants another bite of the pie. Will pick up Henry. Wardy, no, where does he get that kill? Okay, it's all good. Attain ends up finishing it to Trainhard. They get the one-on-ones, and I really love the speed at which Trainhard are playing right now. They recognize that rap's coming through. They go straight for it.
Whalers with an SMG, a handful of rounds in a row. Just to kind of throw that out there, looking pretty saucy with the SMG. That's a handful of rounds defensively that he has been really the linchpin of success for them. He's 10-1, 8 kills in a row. He's fully streaked. I mean, what do you want to say about it? For Elite 2, win condition is turning more and more into kill Whalers, and we have a chance at winning the round, because apparently it's almost impossible to actually do.
I tell you what, I just feel like at this moment in time, Trainhard are playing so aggressively as a squad. It's working out for them in every single situation, and Elite 2, despite being a squad even predominantly made up of Search and Destroy stars, they don't really know how to deal with it at the moment. But Trainhard for now, just going to be playing this one slow. Look how far pushed up Wardy is, though.
And these two players for Elite 2 cannot really help each other. They're just kind of hoping for some blessed timing. You see Rafi's going back and forth between A site or mid, and that's the problem. Wardy is just hoping he gets the 50-50 timing if someone comes to my left, and I can watch it. Hockey in a similar situation, but does eventually even things up to a 3v3, but someone needs to help Rafi, unless he can see Henry off the exit. Maybe an opportunity. You have to know that he's prone, and Rafi will eventually take the challenge, get the kill, and it leads us to a 2v2.
This is a quick hit coming in here for Rafi and Hawkey. Want to get the defuse on this bomb. Trainhard have vacated the bomb site. This is a mistake we see teams make before, but this is actually the worst position here from Elite 2. Hawkey, now a 1 versus 2. Can't even get the first kill. And I tell you what, Trainhard, they look like they were playing that game mode on 1.25 speed there, to be honest with you, Shift. They were playing that so fast. They were acting on every little sliver of information they were given, and it worked out perfectly for them.
The Whalers just went God mode. He ended on 10 in a row. I mean, that is that one of the longest S&D streaks that we've had? I mean, outside of what? Yeah. TJ went flawless 12-0 on a Moscow? I think that's probably the next highest overall S&D streak that we've seen happen. 10-1 is incredible. And he's doing it largely defensively with the sub and offensively with the Krig. Like you saw there, he's clearing the lanes at perfect timing. I mean, hashtag free Whalers? I don't really know what else to say, because that's a masterclass performance, regardless if this match matters or not for Elite 2. Whalers just stepped up and really put his foot down on this Search and Destroy.
Yeah, that was a big play coming out from Whalers. Of course, it wasn't just him. The whole squad had their moments in that game, but it most certainly does help, right? When one of your players just refuses to die. It did feel a little bit, though, as we show you guys our replays here, that Elite 2, they never really felt like they were in an advantageous position, right? It was always train hard, winning the first bloods, you know, making sure they had the numbers. And when that didn't happen, we saw clutch situations coming out of train hard, where they were able to flip it back in their favor. Pretty consistent from them. Again, I really just love the snappiness of which they were making those plays. It was extremely quick decision making from that train hard roster, and it works out in the search and destroy because now they tie the series up.
Yeah, and I think overall, it just kind of felt like Elite 2 were trying things, like that last defensive setup where you've got two players that are pushed really far forward, either through the middle of the map or through the B site to kind of play in that kind of globe courtyard area that we saw. You need to kind of figure out what exactly those are going to look like, because essentially what you're saying is we're going to send two players out at an island and just hope the timing is good enough for them to go at least 1-for-1. Not exactly a successful setup for them in the end, but those are things that you can look at and say, okay, we learned from it. We talked about it. Elite 2 never played this map throughout this entire stage of the Elite. So you get your feet wet with it, you dip your toes in the water, see what we can maybe find out about this map overall versus what, to be fair, is a pretty solid team in Search and Destroy. But that means that we will be going into a 1-1 map count and to a raid control. And this is one of those situations that we talked about for Train Hard. Yeah, their control 2 and 4, not the greatest overall, but a lot of it has been played on Garrison. They've played raid a single time. They played it up against Los Galacticos, and it went to round 5. So again, all of their losses are relatively pretty close. So there's still an opportunity for them to go up in the series. And another situation here to kind of mention, Elite 2 have only played checkmate control. So another instance where I think they can kind of get their feet wet.
Yeah, I mean, I think for both of these teams, you know, given the sort of the context of this matchup in the overall standings of things, it is an opportunity to try some stuff, as you mentioned, with Elite 2 in that search and destroy, because of course Elite 2, they're going on to playoffs regardless of what happens here. So for this for them, I think, is just going to be basically a situation where against a high-level roster like Train Hard, they can maybe try some things out and make sure they refine their raid control, because that is what's going to be coming up next in this series. Of course, if we do go the distance, we've got Garrison and Miami to close this one out. But I mean, it's kind of funny, right? We look at the scoreline so far, complete flip, with map number 1 being a very dominant performance from Elite 2, and then map number 2, Train Hard just made Elite 2 go missing. So interesting series so far. We'll see how the remainder of this one does play out, but we move over towards control on raid, and we're getting right into the thick of things here. It's Elite 2 starting on the offense, and they're already on the say zone.
And Wardy's actually going to be pulling out an AR here to try to help this long-range pressure, able to find one of the kills that will free up Hockey a little bit further forward, but from the middle of the map, Whalers able to make things a little bit more dicey. And how about Wardy with this Krig? Couple of kills in a row, Semtex over the top of the stick, and that'll confirm 1 tick of progress and open the door for more E2 members to get over here to help him out on this A capture.
Making this progress, Train Hard have sent a player on the long flank. That was going to be detained. Unfortunately, he's going to fall, though. So this will all fall on the shoulders of potentially Keza and Whalers now. And hey, they deal with that pressure relatively well. Now, here's the problem for a Train Hard. You have to transition very quickly over to B for this defensive play.
And I'm really interested to see what exactly Hockey is going to be trying to do here when it comes to his loadout. He was pulling out the AR a little bit in that last round, and will he continue to, maybe this was a 3 AR setup to start, and he didn't really find a lot of favor. He was playing very passively, though. And we get our answer. He's got an SMG, at least for right now. Raffy trying to clear things up mid-map, but Detain will get the better of him. Still, with this said, Train Hard do have mid-map control, but not a lot of pressure to really get onto this A zone to stop the second tick of progress. It just comes down to how do you retake this to stall them from getting the third and final hit.
Oh, Detain putting some extra shots into the body. We saw it from Whalers from the last map. They're feeling it at the moment, Shift. Train Hard looking pretty good here on the defense, not giving Elite 2 an inch. Now, Elite 2 have already made 2 ticks of aggression over towards A, so if they break onto that point, they could add an extra minute to the clock here, but Train Hard have already given themselves such a big advantage. As I say that, though, Wardy and Hawkey able to pick up 2. Henry's the last player standing to defend this A zone. Elite 2, they're on there, and this should very easily be a capture.
Yeah, Train Hard are going to give this up. They're going to have Keza here to try to stall some exits and see if he can maybe get a couple of extra kills, which, again, Train Hard would love. They're up 4 kills at the moment, but if you could find a way to maybe even make that a little bit more influential, you'd be great for it. Wardy does eventually take down Keza, which actually opens up a door to make play through the back. Just comes down to how many members you want to send across, because every minute that you linger through Laundry, Elite 2 will essentially allow Trainhard just to spawn up at basketball. So you already see a couple of members will be kind of watching the back for Trainhard, but beyond that, you've got the Tain and Whalers that have pushed through into the bedroom to make sure that Elite 2 are completely staggered on this offensive hit.
Whalers and Kez are going to combine for 3. That is a hugely important wave of kills there. It effectively backs Elite 2 back to their spawn, and now you got to get free Whalers in this power position. Whalers is just too good with the Krig 6. He's able to pick up 2 on a 7 spree. Of course, that's going to be an artillery strike to work with as well. Looking for the cruise missile. He is denied, but Elite 2 here still have to break through this front defensive line. Detain has picked up exactly where Whalers has left off, and nobody spotted him here as well, so he could still cause all sorts of problems for Raffi and Grad, and he'll get Raffi. Surely not Grad as well. Well, he does get Grad, and Elite 2 now down to the last player in Hawkey. What do you got for us, Hawkey? 10 seconds left. Can you just damage here the lives that Trainhard have built up? He'll maybe pick up Keza. No, he won't. Goes for the Semtex throw. Keza finishes him off, and that is a great round for a Trainhard.
Yeah, perfect, really. I mean, it's one of those situations that, yeah, you're not maybe pleased with how things went over towards A initially, but you recover, you make life a little bit more difficult, you end up, after the 60 seconds had been gained for Elite 2, with a 4 life advantage and a lot of mid-map pressure. So once they start to force you to spawn basketball, you've got 2 players that can freely rotate into bedroom. You know that there's going to be players coming around the back, so you just kind of turn around to make sure they don't pinch you, and you end up kind of building on that life lead to a point where it was essentially a 9v1 by the end. So really good stuff overall, and Whalers at 10-3, one of the main reasons why Trainhard were able to find such a successful defense, and off the rip, looks like they will be going with a 3-1 split, largely focused on overweighing this B site.
Whalers looking to pick up this kill against Raffi right out of the gate here. Has the support of Keza. This would be a great opening for a Trainhard if they're able to take out Raffi, and they will. So now you're going to have to see Hawkey and Wardy make their way over towards B to try and put a stop to this initial push. And actually, to be fair, they will. Trainhard haven't really been able to find an opening just yet, but as Keza spawns up over towards A, you should now start to see some progression coming on through.
Well, you do have Grad in the back, and he's going to be the one to kind of feel out how strong this Trainhard roster is towards one zone or the other. And he sees, okay, there's only one person on A, no big deal. The other defensive members for Elite 2 will essentially hit the same exact route, and now you know for a fact that this has to be more of a heavy stack over towards B, largely because you're going to force them to spawn on the north side of the garage. So Elite 2 will start to set up for a retake here. 1 tick of progress, I would say, should be imminent to at least be secured at B, but the kills have not been all that great for Trainhard to find too much more, so now you got to zone forward, and as they do, it's Raffi who walks away with the double, and the progress will only halt with just a single tick being gained.
I really love this from Elite 2, just continually sending a player in from behind. They might not be able to stop this A point, but they'll at the very least try. They will try. They'll pick up 2. Raffi there to pick up another one. Wardy dealt so much damage there to the offensive line. Stops them capturing Zone A. And now there's 40 seconds here for Trainhard to make a B push work. And it's going to be Hawkey already. Okay, that is just a disgusting Semtex. Lands it right on a Detain. And it is just the aggression being felt right now by Trainhard from Elite 2.
9 life advantage as well here for Elite 2. So not only do Trainhard have to decide which zone they're going to go for, they need to do it cleanly, because even if you get the extra 60 seconds, you just don't have a lot of lives to play with. And, well, Whalers did sneak onto the A zone, but lingering defensively was Hawkey to take him off. So now the last attempt has to be successful here at B. Detain trying to zone off the back stairs will be relatively unsuccessful. Gives Elite 2 a chance to maybe try to retake, but the second tick of progress should be confirmed here at the B zone.
And there's going to be players coming on through, actually, in the back line. That's going to be Wardy, and Wardy picks up 2. Grad with the denial, and now with 4 seconds left. And when we thought round number 1 was a dominant showing from Trainhard, and round number 2 is a great response coming out from Elite 2. What, they were down 10 lives, I want to say, in round number 1? Well, hey, right back at you. There's a 10 life differential at the end of round number 2.
And for both teams offensively, there has been very little mid-map pressure. A lot of the success that we've seen in the capture percentage has been because they flooded in and the defense just wasn't there yet. So once they eventually get onto the zone, sure, you could talk about the ticks of progress that come through in the first round. The A zone did get fully captured, but if you don't have any mid-map control, you're just going to get pinched and the lives are just going to get out of hand. And that's been the case through both of our first 2 rounds so far. And in my mind, for Elite 2 now going to the offense, I would like to see them change that dynamic. See if you can win that middle control a little bit more convincingly as you're going back and forth between the A and the B zone. And, well, how about it? All 4 members off spawn dig not just through the middle of the map, but they even push into the kitchen to try to zone off Trainhard's respawns.
Elite 2 want this good offensive push right out the gate here. Unfortunately for Wardy, he's going to face some threat from behind. The rest of his teammates do fall, and that's a good hold coming out from Trainhard right out the gate here. Of course, the problem for them, though, is look at the spawns coming in from Elite 2. When you wipe one team away from B, they're going to spawn right close to A, and now Trainhard going to have to retake this point before it is captured. Hawkey able to pick up 2, Grad able to pick up another one, and here comes the streak from Whalers. That will, at the very least, remove them from the point for now.
And the whole idea there for Trainhard was to use those streaks to retake because you had members that were postured in the middle of the map to maybe try to re-hit through art. The problem was there was kind of a disjointed moment where one player went through the hit through the art museum, the other just kind of stayed put, both of them fall. So now Elite 2, even though the streaks come in, they're just right back onto the zone and making progress. That should be the full A zone given away. Trainhard not in a position to challenge from here. And now it just comes down to what do you want to do defensively here for Trainhard? You're only down a couple of lives. They're going to try to put a lot of focus over towards the middle of the map. Raffi is essentially now by himself as Grad falls. So there should be an opportunity for our team in white to really put some pressure defensively on in the middle of the map.
Trainhard. They've got players in the right positions at the moment. Of course, Henry in that power position over towards the Villa. Elite 2, though, they want this through the mid-map. Hawkey can get at least 1 kill here. That would be huge. Now on a 5 spree. So for him, this is going to be up trying to earn those streaks. That would be monumental in this round. Instead, just looking to filter on through. Whalers shuts him down, though. A huge shutdown coming out from Trainhard as once again now they have the positioning. Whalers and Raffi trying to sniff each other out. But look at this. Whalers on the other side of the map looking for this kill. And this is just great zoning coming in here from Trainhard on the defense.
The only thing that they're lacking right now is any bedroom pressure, but they're gaining pressure by making sure their flank stays safe and the middle of the map is largely at least contested. They're not winning the middle of the map, but at least they're able to keep a gun there to make sure that it's not free for Elite 2 to get into. So now that they've finally gotten some clearance, Elite 2 is going to try to posture for a hit over towards B. The kills will go 2 for 2. Which will mean that Elite 2 really can't largely commit to getting onto the zone, but the reinforcements do have an avenue available to try to help.
Elite 2, they're on the point, but Keza and Henry, they are here. The backup has arrived. Elite 2 now batted away for the last 30 seconds. Trainhard have done a great job of defending this B zone for now, but here you go. The collapse coming on through. Elite 2, they win every single gunfight. Trainhard spawning out, and now you should see Elite 2 collapse onto this point. Try and get it as quickly as possible. Look at how far that bar is progressing, how fast it is progressing. Elite 2, they look to capture it. Trainhard have one good push left in them. The trades are there, though. Trainhard able to bat them away for now.
Brilliant retake from the side of Trainhard. Not done yet. Wardy's able to stay alive for a small moment, but now time is becoming a bit of a problem in a 5v6, still favoring Trainhard's defense for now. Hawkey's going to try to get into Tiki, but is shut down in the defense positionally. Just intuitive much of an advantageous spot. It's going to leave things to just the last 3 attacking members. Grant is going to have to give up this spot in Kitchen if he wants to make a play in the zone. It will not happen. Beautiful retake. I mean, Trainhard recognized that, hey, Kitchen's not available for us. Let's try to work through the cutout. Let's see if we can overwhelm through basketball. And eventually, with just a couple of good kills off the break, we're able to get in and make sure that that progress was just stalled before it was converted on that 3rd tick of progress.
That's a massive clutch coming in there. I want to say it was Keza and Henry that did that towards the end there, that retake from them. Brilliant stuff to be able to do that and making sure that Elite 2 do not get that offensive win. And what an odd control this has been here on Raid. For those of you uninformed, Raid control is generally speaking an offensively sided map, just because of the fact that the game effectively spawns you closer to B, for example, if you've already just failed in the capture on A. So this is odd. We've seen defensive rounds traded here, and right off the bat, it's Trainhard looking to make a move through mid, give themselves a couple of options, and that is a good start. They win the first bloods.
Yeah, but there wasn't enough pressure to pick up the pinch, so Hawkey's able to come through, find 1 elimination, and it again allows Elite 2 defensively to take back their kitchen control. Trainhard onto the B zone with just 1 member at the moment. It's Whaler, so that's your main AR that's going to be sitting here, hoping that he's going to get some help. Keza also with a Krig in hand is going to make sure that the defense is hard-pressed to get on to contest the 1st tick of progress. Now you need to find a way to win some trades if you're Elite 2, and none of them are really coming through. I mean, the play for the pinch was shut down. 2nd tick of progress is now here, and now you have to go desperately if you're Elite 2.
Sane looking to close this one out. Has the kills necessary. Henry also there, and that is a good capture coming out from them. And here's the big thing, right? Now they want to go capture A. It is the much easier point to take. Elite 2 going to be facing this pressure as Trainhard start to build it up in the mid-map. You also have Keza over towards the spawn. Maybe looking to go at this from a different angle as Whalers comes on through red. just looking to build up this pressure.
This is great. I mean, you've got number 7 at Detain, who's continuing just being a nuisance in the middle of the map. It's not allowing Elite 2 to be able to pinch. So as soon as those kills come out, you're able to then free up space for Trainhard to actually get onto the zone with numbers. First tick of progress confirmed, second quickly on the way, but the retake from Elite 2 also coming in fast and furiously. Can they get here in time to stop Henry from finding the second tick? They sure will, and this is a beautiful defensive push through. Get into Jim, force Trainhard to spawn out, make them have to fight for their lives coming out of garage.
I love this. Hawkeye looking at play spoiler, cause problems inside the spawn. Wardy also there, and you can manipulate these spawns so easily if you're in the right positions. That is exactly what Hawkeye's doing at the moment. As he gets yet another, a 6 on his spree, not a 7th. Keza comes in with the deny, and now Trainhard right back where they started there on the point once again. They are just a sliver away from capturing those last couple of kills. Will confirm it. Trainhard walk away with a victory here. Finally, somebody takes an offense.
And that's one of the things that, again, I think overall you're going to take away some notes if you're Elite 2, because they've only played checkmate control so far. I like the ability to push through, but if we don't have some sort of a second line of scrimmage, if those players that are trying to zone respawns fall, you've got nobody on the zone. So it's almost like a dramatic game of tug of war where you're forcing them to spawn all the way out, but once you lose those 3 members that are pushing through driveway, all of a sudden you're spawning out in basketball because they're pushing straight up the driveway. So it's a lot of give and take. The ebb and flow feels pretty drastic when you're in situations like that. So a learning lesson, I think, overall for Elite 2. But hey, Trainhard fighting strong, looking really solid in that raid control. And it brings them to a Garrison Hardpoint, a map that they'll feel much more comfortable on compared to the first opening respawn where we had the raid Hardpoint. They've played here a lot, and it's been pretty favorable for them. 5 total times, 2 and 3 overall on the map for Trainhard.
Yeah, I mean, this map, as we go into Garrison Hardpoint up next after the replay, is effectively just going to be SMG prowess coming out from Trainhard, and we've seen them be scary here on this before. And this is actually, I guess, the positive of having a very SMG-orientated lineup on a map like Garrison. That's extremely beneficial. You know that Henry, Keza, and Detain can play well with those submachine guns. Hell, we've even seen Whalers go out with an SMG today at points, right? So we know that these guys are pretty good with their SMGs, so we're really excited to jump back into this one. And apparently the players are very excited to jump into it as well, because we are jumping straight into Garrison Hardpoint from the control. They're not dilly-dallying. They want to get right into it.
And it's not to sit there and say that Trainhard is going to be favored in this map necessarily, because Elite 2 also have some recent results. Specifically, they played up against Orgless yesterday in what was essentially a must-win match for them. They were able to take that map 250 to 192, a tight one there. It's just, for me, like, looking at this Elite 2 squad, kind of framing them up for what we'll see them in the knockout bracket next week, I just want to see a little bit more consistency out of their respawn, because when they win, the wins are usually pretty narrow. And when they lose, yeah, they've got a couple of recent results that are not too terrible, but they've been put into the 100-point club 3 separate times. By far and away, the most amount that we've seen so far in EU Elite Stage 2. So consistency is a little bit of an issue when it comes to Elite 2, and the same can actually be said about their control. As mentioned, up until we just saw them play on Raid, they've only played checkmate. Some of their wins have been nice, some of their losses have been atrocious. So that's where I'm really looking at, the potential ceiling for this Elite 2 squad. It starts for me first and foremost in their respawn consistency, because Search and Destroy has by far been their best mode overall, but when it comes to their favorite maps, I need to see you putting up at least, like, if you're going to lose your favorite maps, it better be close. I don't want to see you be putting the 100-point club on maps that you're also finding good wins in. It's just kind of weird to see that happen.
Yeah, it is. It's just been a bit of an odd series, I think, overall. Let's take a look back then at that raid control. We have a replay to show you guys, really just to talk about some of the highlight moments here. And to be honest with you, I think this is actually a very close control, and not necessarily in terms of the scoreline. We see the shots coming in there from Detain, but just in terms of, we saw some real clutch moments coming out really from both teams. I think the one where it really didn't matter was actually Trainhard on that round number 3. I'm sure we'll see it in a moment. They were facing so much pressure over towards B, but they managed to fight back and take the point at the very last second.
Yeah, and even in these opening couple of rounds, you'll notice that offensively, there's not a lot of arrows that are in the middle of the map. Everything was on the outsides, which typically speaking, it could get you some very quick success if you just catch the defense off guard, but to hold that success could be a little bit difficult because you're allowing the defense to retake from multiple angles, and that was why the defense was so dominant in the first couple of rounds. Now, that narrative changed as we got into round 3 and round 4. Trainhard was doing a much better job focusing the middle of the map, making sure that as they were on offense, they were keeping their flanks safe, and then also defensively, they were making sure that Elite 2 did not have the ability to go back and forth between the A and the B zone freely. So the adjustments were actually really impressive from Trainhard, and one of the reasons why I think not only did we see the offenses keep becoming much more largely successful, I mean, still a defense did come through, obviously, but there were still good looks, and that was because both teams kind of adjusted to making sure that after they'd captured one zone, we can't just solo one-dimensionally focus the other. We have to make sure we're actually playing around the map and opening up space for us to get an actual setup into the mix, and Trainhard able to do that just a little bit better than what we saw from Elite 2. But we get into the respawn here again, this time the second hardpoint on Garrison. We talked about how Trainhard I feel pretty comfortable here. They're one of their most played maps when it comes to hardpoint overall, but Elite 2 also have some favorable results, and that includes this opening off the break start as they find themselves the opening 20 points with only giving away 3 lives.
Now we are going to see Elite 2 starting pretty strong here. I'm looking really at Hawkeye and Wardy for this Elite 2 roster to really step things up. Of course, Grad has also switched over to the AK-74U for this game, and that's completely understandable given just how close range this map can be. So right out of the gate here, not a bad set of time for Elite 2 to get. Trainhard, though, they're more fixated on this rotation.
It just comes down to can they hold these rotations. One of their problems from the raid in map number 1 was they chalked a lot of time in favor of getting the initial setup, but they were still getting broken. That's a good first kill from Detain. Whaler's also able to help out as well, as Elite 2 was trying to play around the back for some spawn influence, but they will be completely unsuccessful in it. Now spawning all the way out means that Trainhard should be able to get the first 30 seconds without much contest.
Yeah, good defensive hold here coming out early on from Trainhard. They're winning every single gunfight. Elite 2, of course, now with 30 seconds left, they face this choice of do we go for spawns or do we try and force the Lex Till? And actually, they have 2 players spawning out over towards bricks. That's going to be Grad and Hawkeye. Both of them are going to fall. So good defensive hold there coming out from Trainhard. And now, inside the mid-map, you have these important rotational gunfights going down. Wardy going to lose his, and Trainhard flip the spawns in a crucial moment. They make the rotation work.
Where does Whaler spawn here? He's not going to be able to hold it for the entire time. Looks like he actually does spawn behind these setups over towards this third hard point. Pretty blessed to get that spawn, if I'm being completely honest. Henry trying to keep ammo safe will fall. So an opportunity for Elite 2 to try to overwhelm off this top side of the mini-map, but Whalers will just play through ticket, find 1. And now there's an opportunity with Henry, who actually did get spawned out. He can actually pinch this play and once again help Trainhard really lock this hard point down.
Look at Detain right now, really starting to heat up here on a 4 spree, and let me tell you, from watching Detain over the years, you do not want to let him go off. He is going to get shut down, so good kill to be made by Grad here as Elite 2 look to push on through the front for the last 25 seconds of time. Henry going to get taken down by Grad. Good 3 streak from him now as Trainhard still spawning in the back, still getting replenishment of lives as Elite 2 look to at the very least stop them from getting time. But now Trainhard, they have Whalers starting to heat up again, and this time it's not a search and destroy. He can continue this on at his own pace.
Kill away from being able to get the artillery strike. Raffi up top, try to challenge him. Gets him down to 10 HP, but Whalers will survive and have to reassess where exactly he's going to find this final kill for that artillery. And he's got a couple of tools to work with. Looks like it's going to be Henry who will bait for him, trying to open him up for this kill a little bit more easily than you would expect. And as there is some information gained, Brad will take a peek. There it is, artillery strike earned. Now working for the cruise missile, and he knows that Hawkeye's got to be up top somewhere, but Keza clears that off. Long-range shots. Whalers able to earn full streaks. And Trainhard, they're also even breaking through to the hard point. They should be the first ones to get over 100 points, pending they actually lock down this break.
Elite 2, they still want a slice of this pie, going straight for that time, and why the hell wouldn't you? As Trainhard now with 20 seconds left or so, looking at repositioning sooner or later for that next hard point, but those streaks will be monumental later on in the game, especially as you move over towards that P2 hard point on the next and maybe the final rotation here. Elite 2 going to get the scrap time, and this isn't a bad position for them to be in at all, Shift, to be honest. Trainhard spawning out over towards ammo.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting situation, I think, largely from Elite 2's standpoint, because you want to clear off these members that are lurking through P4, but you also want to try to make a spot to where you can trap Trainhard over towards these spawns on the platform. And, well, you ask and you shall receive, apparently, if you're Elite 2, as they've done exactly what they need to. All of those red arrows now focusing where these proximal spawns will be for Trainhard, and the kills are absolutely convincing. This is where things get really dangerous if you continue to spawn in what a lot of people consider to be the favorable position. You're closer to the hard point, but getting out of this platform can be really difficult to do.
Yeah, this is a really great position for Elite 2 to find themselves in. They're looking to soak up all the scrap time. They're also spawning pretty close to P2, so they can keep on replenishing themselves as they look to defend that rotation. Trainhard, do you remove Elite 2 from this P5 hill? Brad's going to fall. Trade's now going on in favor of Elite 2. Wardy, the last member left alive, though. It's going to be Trainhard able to come off the spawn for the scrap time. And at the end of the first set of rotations here, Shift, pretty close game throughout. This is a totally different situation as what we saw in map number 1.
It almost feels a little too passive, if I'm being honest, from Elite 2. You've got a really good spawn trap in play, but look at number 4 and number 3. They're sitting so far back. Granted, they are holding some high ground space. They could have been in a position to be up top in green and up top on the bridge. Still spawn in the middle of the map while the 5th hardpoint is active, and then be able to actually not just zone the 5th hill, you can actually zone off the next 1st hill as well. Plus also be in a position to rotate over to P2. So it feels a little bit passive compared to what we see a lot of CDL squads do, but they still walk away with a pretty good amount of time here early on the 1st hardpoint, but they have allowed an opportunity for Trainhard to retake some of those key positions as we turn our attention towards the SAT truck for our 2nd hill.
And it's going to be Trainhard here on the rotation. If they can get rid of Wardy, that should be easy for them to hold down. And it will. Important rotation also, because they lose it here. Elite 2 will give themselves quite an advantage in this game. They're currently up by about 40 points or so. Henry, over towards Brown, is going to fall after a trade, however. So Trainhard still looking to play the numbers game at this point. Elite 2 going to have to regroup for a push through bricks, and they just keep on losing players here. They don't have the numbers to fully make this one work, but it is going to be Grad able to pick up one. Detain trying to hunt him down, failed to do so immediately, and Grad going to work off that perfectly. Elite 2, they find their way in.
21 and 13, 3 in a row, plus 63 seconds with the hill time. Grad is really doing everything right now. One of the main reasons that Elite 2 is enjoying their lead. Artillery strike will come out, but you look at the minimap, all the white arrows are all over the place. They're actually not able to capitalize largely on the space that was created by the streak. So now Hockey, he just needs to make sure that he's responsible for players from the front. Does not expect Keza to be up close and personal, but Wardy and Grad will clear the space. Of course, Grad's part of the play. Why wouldn't he be? And that will mean that the break for the scrap time is good, and now we turn our attention to the rotational battle as we head over towards the generator platform.
And Trainhard at the moment, now down by about 30 seconds or so. Yet again, they find themselves down on the rotation. This time, they're going to want to hold it for the full 60. They've got players set up in ammo, players set up on platform, looking for these early gunfights. Henry and Keza are going to find them. So for Elite 2 at this point in time, it's just a case of looking for these opening kills, finding your way on into the hard point and stopping Trainhard from earning this time. Detain has so much to do here. He unfortunately is going to fall. And Elite 2 looking to find their way in, but Henry, he has it locked down, picks up 3, and Elite 2 are denied a chance at that hard point because of Henry.
Oh my goodness. It's a really good setup from Elite 2 as well. You've got 1 player through dark, 2 through tools, 1 through the middle. It's going to force Trainhard to have to respond and respond quickly, and boy has Henry done that. And then beyond that, Trainhard actually get a little bit of success pushing through tools to make life a little bit more difficult on Elite 2 trying to zone this next hard point. So the lead swap is good. Trainhard in a powerful position up about 15, and they've got an exit in which Henry's working for a couple of streaks of his own. Same position, same timing that Whalers found his. Can maybe Henry add a couple more tools to the shed?
Henry looking for these streaks. It could well be huge. Elite 2 on the hard point at the moment, though, soaking up all this time. Henry's playing this very slowly. Will get 1, so now just 1 kill away, more likely than not to earn this artillery strike. Knows that somebody is around the corner, goes for the ego challenge. Grad wins the gunfight. No streaks for you, Henry Disser. As Trainhard now have lost quite a bit of time at the back of this hard point. Elite 2 have been soaking it up just to play for those streaks, and they didn't get them.
This is literally deja vu. It's like Trainhard have the exact same setup for P3, the exact same success. They nearly get double streaks on another member, but in the end, Elite 2 still make life very difficult for Trainhard to actually see time on the 4th hard point, let alone a rotation to get over towards the middle square. Same situation, almost copy-paste. Elite 2 will have a very small lead, but a potential here to really grow that, pending they read how Trainhard want to try to break through lights as they make a move towards this 5th hardpoint.
Elite 2 could well finish it here if they get a perfect hold. Detain, though, Gets a rogue spawn. Going to work off that perfectly. Elite 2, quite frankly, just didn't expect the Detain Inquisition. He gets 3. What on earth is that? Trainhard surge on into the hardpoint, and now Detain will end up falling. Elite 2 still losing some time here, though. Whalers in the back line, back in his natural habitat with the Krig 6, looking to get some kills here. And Elite 2, this situation is completely flipped on its head.
This has been such a very convincing back and forth, and we still have 2 minutes worth of game time. Usually when we get tallies around 210, 220 like this, the game clock's at like 45 seconds. No, these have been convincing breaks and convincing holds for either team. So with the last bit of scrap time going the way of Trainhard, it's up to Elite 2 to try to get some work done here on this first hardpoint. Again, set up very passively, mind you. Not only does Keza open up some space towards green, but Detain playing through vent nearly gets the better of Hockey. Elite 2, from their positions passively, need to make sure they're making life difficult on Trainhard, but they're not around the hard point. That means Trainhard could potentially put the game away here.
Keza, he gets in. He's going to get the time now, and it's going to be one more player pushing him. Wardy is there. He's able to pick up 1. Trainhard looking to build this pressure through lights. They also have Henry in the mid-map. He is, however, going to fall. Elite 2 here, just going to contest this time. For Trainhard, it's just about making sure Elite 2 can no longer finish it on this hill, or maybe even break in for the last 6 seconds, but it is going to be Elite 2 in for now. Trainhard still go for some last-ditch effort, but you cannot actually give this time up. You have to go, and you have to hit it essentially right now. Henry goes for the contest. Wardy doesn't want to let that one happen. I don't know if they can still get this tick over here, but regardless, Wardy still on a 5 spree. Elite 2 still looking to hold on this time. Trainhard, they've got to get in the hard point. Surely not. They finally do, and the contest is in. No tick over, but look at the rotation. It's going to be Whalers over there. A massive 1v1, and Whalers is going to win it. He looks for the second. It's not to be. Elite 2 find their way on in. Nobody there to help Whalers. It doesn't matter if you got a streak. You don't even get the chance to use it, Whalers.
It's just, oh man, it's one of those situations that you kind of felt in the middle of that first hardpoint at the end that Trainhard just kind of let off the gas a little bit. I mean, the setup for Elite 2 coming off the 5th hardpoint was really passive. And Trainhard get on and they say, we can just win the game here. And it's like, we only need 4 seconds, so we'll just kind of maybe just play for the W over by the 2nd hardpoint. Oh, but wait, Elite 2 can still win off the first hill. That's the problem. Maybe they didn't really fully evaluate that situation, because as soon as they let off the gas, Elite 2 don't just retake the first hardpoint. They push through it. They zone off things by lights. They get up top by green, and there's not a lot of opportunity from there for Trainhard to even touch or contest to send it to the 2nd hardpoint. So again, that's kind of where I look at Trainhard, and a lot of the close losses that they fared, of course, earlier in the group stage where it mattered more than this one currently does. Those decisions came back to bite them in the rear, and the same situation happens right here as well. So a little bit difficult. It just felt like there was a moment where you're going 90 and a 60, and you sit there and say, okay, we'll just put this thing in cruise control at 72 miles an hour, and we'll just kind of work our way to a W. Wait a second, passing on the left is Elite 2 as they work their way back in for the dub.
I'm just mind blown. I genuinely am just mind blown about that conclusion there for Elite 2. I mean, it was just one of those things, right, where Trainhard, you know, you needed to commit something to make sure that Elite 2 didn't finish it there. You don't want to overcommit in that situation just in case they do finish it and that's it. But I mean, it's unfortunate it doesn't work out for Trainhard in the end. But on the other side, I do want to give some real props to Elite 2 there for making sure they had the composition to make their way into the hard point for those last few seconds of time. And of course, massive shout out to Wardy and Grad. I think they both ended up there with 30 in the end. Massive performance from them. Just incredible from that pair, and of course from Elite 2. And that puts us in a position here, Shift, to have a game number 5 in this series. Let's take a look at our map set, show you guys how everything has happened thus far and how that game 5 is going to look. Look, we're going to Miami for Search and Destroy. There's actually a strike variant of this map coming very soon to Call of Duty that Treyarch announced today. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, it looks really awesome. But this Miami that we're going to have for map number 5, again, Trainhard have played here a couple of times. It's 0-2, but it's a round 10 and a round 11 loss overall. And on the other side for Elite 2, this is where they have baked their bread and churned their butter to butter that bread, because they have played this map almost every single series in their stage so far, and they have found a lot of favor here. 4-1 overall through the 5 times they've played it. Most of those wins were very convincing. The only loss that they suffered were versus, at the time, the team Rams. Now, Galactic Galacticos, and we already know that that Galacticos team loves their Miami search and destroy. So not exactly a surprising result when it comes to seeing them play up against those guys there. But overall, it's one of those things that for Trainhard, we saw it on Moscow, very clean, very polished, very, very demanding when it came to the executions that they were trying to pull off. Would love to see the same thing here to get them their second win before the group stage comes to an end. But at the same point, we know that Elite, they're very, very talented on this map. They have a lot of experience. And I think if you were to be, a betting man, you'd probably put the farm on Elite 2 if you're able to find more favor here in the Miami search.
Yeah, I think that is the one thing that I would say coming into this one is Trainhard. The reason that they won Moscow Search and Destroy so heavily is because they just played so aggressive. And Moscow works, I think, in that way, in a way that I don't think Miami does as nicely. We've spoken at length about the fact that Trainhard are a very SMG heavy roster. They are, I think, probably the most SMG heavy roster we have here in Elite Stage 2 in Europe. And a map like Miami, although you can use that to your advantage, right? If you push the B-bomb site pretty heavily consistently, right. I think there's so much more area here for the ARs of Rafi and Grad to work their magic on this map, and that's a scary prospect for Trainhard. So there is absolutely a chance here for Elite 2 to come out and win this series in Game 5.
I think the question for me is actually going to be more of what the meta compositionally is going to look like for Trainhard. Kind of mentioned it before, Trainhard largely has just had Whalers on the AR. And everyone else will just run SMGs. So who is going to pick up that second, maybe even the third AR? Because when we see this map be played in North America, obviously we have the QBZ in the conversation. But outside of whatever AR you happen to be using, largely this map is ran by at least 2 assault rifles, if not 3 at times, to try to control the space because there's so much of it. So it'll be interesting, I think, to see what Trainhard bring to the table here. Maybe there have been some adjustments when it comes to what they were doing prior when they were playing on this map versus teams like Passion and Orgless, where they fell in round 10 and round 11 respectively. So in my mind, if Trainhard want to have a chance to take down Elite 2 on this map and find their second win, I want to see who's going to be picking up that second, if not third AR to help out Whalers, because you cannot figure he's going to go 12-1 again on 10 straight kills to make sure that they're able to win the map. So something is going to have to really kind of be learned, I feel like, when it comes to this TH squad. And can they actually meet up against some of that long-range pressure that you assume will be in play for Elite 2?
I think that's the question, isn't it, right? Because historically speaking, for those of you who followed sort of amateur Call of Duty for years now, you will be well aware of the fact that Henry and Keza at points have both had to pick up that flex role. So they are both pretty proficient in the AR role. If anybody would do it, I'd suggest that you probably put Henry on the second AR and let Keza run wild with the SMG because he is nasty with that AK-74U. That being said, if there's 3 ARs, those are the players that would probably be picking up the slack. Right. That being said, do you even really need 2 more ARs? Whalers had a monster search and destroy in the first search and destroy. He's like 2.5 ARs all by himself. He's pretty good. But we'll see how it goes. We're going into Game 5 here, folks. This will decide the winner of this series. And effectively for Elite 2, this will be important for them to decide what seed they end up with in the knockout stage.
Yeah, and you feel like for Trainhard defensively, you're probably just going to stick Whalers over by the visitor center over towards the A site, but he can't be everywhere. So as much as we would love to see him try to go on another spree, he's going to need some help is what it comes down to at the end of the day. Unless, one of the things we talked about a lot with how this map has changed in Search is that we no longer see a lot of offenses nor defenses trying to get aggressive up to top piano. But as we jump into this round, there will be a little bit of that pressure as Trainhard on the offense are fully stacked over for a B execute.
Detainer will pick up one. Trades coming through though. Rafi and Grad going to be responsible for that one. And now Elite 2. They have the man advantage 3 versus 2. This initial push from Henry and Whalers has been stunted. And it looks like they're going to go for a wrap around here. Maybe go through piano. It looks like they've still got their heart set on this B push, but Grad is ready for it. He's surely able to pick up one, looking for the second. There is a trade coming in from Whalers, but 20 seconds on the clock. Wardy puts him in the trash.
Yeah, and the entire time, that rotation to A, if they were to have wanted to make that play, would not have been successful either, because you had Hockey with a third AR that was watching the middle of the map. So it would have been really difficult to make a play anywhere, and you just had to commit. And the commitment was correct, going back to B, definitely the smart play. But the problem is, we've seen defenses, like we mentioned, they've adjusted away from stacking up top and trying to fight for top piano control and just say, have it. We'll just put an AR in the back of the dumpster over here in the trash alley and just get a free line of sight at you. You have to take an AR off a heady with an SMG. Not easy to do. So Elite 2 find the favorable positions and they win the gunfights because of it to get them their first round. And now it's down to what do they want to do offensively, because Trainhard are actually playing aggressively through the garage and through the beachfront defensively here in 2-2 form.
I love this defensive setup from Trainhard. It could work out perfectly for them. Henry getting aggressive now. Looking for the kill versus Grad. Will find it. And that play, it's a massive risk because you die there. There is no trade. But there's the reward. And again, we're seeing exactly the same thing here. Trainhard, they are really causing issues for Elite 2. And now it comes down to just Wardy. They're well aware of where he is. Of course, he should be dead to rights. The Tane going to take him out sooner rather than later. Not before he takes out Whalers. The Tane was looking at him for a very long time there, just making sure he lines up the shot correctly.
And it's a risky defensive play to go 2-2 both sides of the map, getting aggressive on the defense. But if you happen to get the roulette wheel to strike, you find an opportunity to get around the back of the offense before they've even made a play, which is exactly what happens here. The bomb carrier falls initially over by Tiki, and on the backside, there was that long pinch that came through the curve to make sure that where usually an AR would be sitting is challenged. So really good from Trainhard to get the timing in play and find those initial wins to really largely make that an impossible round from Elite 2. We'll just have to keep that in the back of our minds to see if they try doing something similar in their next defense. But before we get there, it'll be a very similar loadout and setup for both of these teams. 3-man stack defensively to B for the side of Elite 2's defense, and the same setup largely for Trainhard as they push up to the top side of not just Piano, but also they have Keza waiting over the backside of the garage.
Trainhard. They got their eyes set on this B push, but there is Elite players swarmed around this site. Wardy takes those first few shots into detain. It's not going to equate to a kill just yet. Trainhard looking to reposition, maybe push this one through the garage. But Grad is there at the bottom of the stairs, looking to throw people down. He's able to get two, shuts down the offensive play for the moment. And look at this from Detain. He's snaking down the stairs. Detain, he's playing this so slowly, but it works out. He's able to pick up one, does get traded. But really, Grad is the arbiter in that round. He makes that entire play happen for Elite 2.
Yeah, and just coming over the middle of the map is Rafi to help this play as well. Again, just makes life super, super difficult. And one of the reasons that I feel like we largely don't see those top piano pushes is not because you're losing information on where exactly the defense is positioned. With all the trophies that are down there, it's very difficult to clear angles underneath you. So unless you're finding those kills at range, those players that are sitting in the backside of the alley, it's difficult to really get a successful execute just from top piano, and you're seeing exactly why from that situation. Now, you remember back, we kind of put a pin in it. Would Trainhard try to get aggressive again with their defense? It's the exact same setup. 2 players aggressive to the top side of piano, 2 players aggressive over towards the beachfront, but this time, Hockey's here to make sure that there are no contestants up in front of their face, but Henry sneaking over to the Catamaran finds first blood before he eventually is traded down to a 3v3.
This leaves Whalers in a horrible position now. Grad trying to hunt him down. Grad trying to hunt him down. Will get it. Bit of a shaky play, but finds some solid ground to work off. And now Keza and Detain in a 2 versus 3. Of course, your one advantage here is that you are not the ones that have to plant this bomb. But Elite 2, they've got quite a bit of time to work with. They've got quite a bit of map control also. Rafi, okay, does spot out Detain there. Gets him on the corner of his screen. And now Keza, last man standing. Good pre-fire coming in from Rafi. You feel surely that Keza is dead to rights in this situation.
Yeah, they know exactly where he's at. So he's going to have to do something absolutely incredible. And we'll check the first box there as he does find Rafi at range. It opens up the middle of the map for him to play with. But he's going to have to find these kills out towards the beachfront, in which I believe both of them have ARs to play with if they want to. If you couldn't take it by my tone, he's going to have to win. He would have to win a lot of incredible gunfights with an SMG at range. So good stuff overall. And again, that 2-2 split defensive setup for Trainhard on the aggressive front does get shut down this time. And the difference maker is the fact that Grad was picked out as first blood in the last offense from the side of Elite 2 with the bomb in front of Tiki. This time he's got an AR to walk with him and make sure that he stays a little bit more safe. It still results in what is eventually a 3v3, but the fact that they keep the play alive is already better than the last offensive round that they tried the same thing for Elite 2.
I think what we're seeing at the moment is exactly what you and I prefaced this matchup with, right? Trainhard, they're trying to get aggressive, and they're being punished for it a lot of these times by Elite 2. We'll see if Trainhard are able to close the gap. At the moment, 2 rounds down. Once again, it is Elite 2 on the defense here, and Trainhard have gone for that 2-2 split once again here, Shift.
Grad at 7-3 is going to be trusted to kind of watch up top by himself while Wardy keeps track of what's happening over by the garage. But Trainhard are mostly focused on what's happening over by A, and with Keza finding first blood, now there's a lot of pressure on these defensive players up top. Grad going to get blessed as Detain just runs right by him, so we keep things 3v3, and with that kill, it means that Grad could potentially be lurking around. So look at number 1. Whalers has to be responsible for this potential flank, so he's not actually a part of this offensive hit towards A. This is going to be a 3v2, technically in favor of Elite 2 onto this A execute coming out of Trainhard.
Arthur's got quite a lot to do here. Has the support of Wardy, but has spotted out both players, is well aware of where they're at. Not a lot of time for Trainhard to make this push work. Whalers in the mid-map looking to make something happen. Grad spotted him out, however. Wardy able to pick up 1. But the trade is made. Now 18 seconds on the clock. It's all down to Whalers. A 1 versus 2. You've got to get the bomb down. A horrible position to find yourselves in. And once again, Elite 2, they make light work of that round.
Yeah, really good stuff. And it's one of those things that, even in the 3v3, as mentioned, because Grad finds that kill up top in Piano, Whalers can't be a part of the official play because he's going to be the one to make sure the flank stays safe the entire way. So really, for Trainhard to find success in that offense, they would have had to get those 2 players in the front to clear space onto the A site. The problem with that is that both of them had ARs. So it's very difficult to figure that they're going to be able to find a lot of success while getting aggressive. And in that little kind of pensive play, working up the beachfront, Elite 2 just get the defensive numbers stacked, and they find the favorable angles to make sure that the kills are in their favor. So this time, Elite 2 going to change the tide as they're making an aggressive play with a lot of SMGs immediately through garage. Nobody watching it for Trainhard means that there will be favorable trades initially, but good recovery from Henry to keep things to a 2v2.
Grad and Wardy looking to get this bomb down. Actually, they're playing this one really aggressively. Grad looking to find a further advantage. Henry and Whalers might have thought that this might be a rotation. Just going to play this slow as a just-in-case situation. Has Henry just spotted out Grad? Yes, he has. Grad goes for the play, and with the bomb in hand, maybe not the best play to make, because now this leaves Wardy in a not-so-great position. A 1 versus 2. You have 0 autonomy over where that bomb is. And you have to make the play happen with just 25 seconds on the clock. Wardy's going for it, though. Straight out with the courage into mid-map. Trying to just bait out Henry, but of course that gives time for Waders to come over and support his fellow Trainhard teammate. And Trainhard able to work off that 2v2.
And you could tell there was a moment after this initial exchange came through that Elite 2 didn't really know exactly what they wanted to do with these kills. You should know that if you win these 2 eliminations up top by Piano and you're not getting shot at from behind, that the back alley is yours. The problem was they never took it. They just kind of drew the line in the sand right through Pink and never really made a play to deny that back alley. So essentially the whole play in that 2v2 was Elite 2 was hoping that someone would walk by them in that middle hotel, and never happened. Trainhard just played very passively behind, said, let's just let them plant. We'll play for a retake if we have to, and well, they didn't have to. So now Trainhard going back over towards the B site, 4 members stacked, but all of it is through garage. Nobody's playing through Piano on this attempt.
Again, aggression coming out here from Trainhard. Wardy in that classic position. The cupboard under the stairs. He's getting naded out of it, though. Kez are able to pick up that first blood. This is a great resurgence coming in from Trainhard onto the site. They deal with Wardy. Now it is literally just Grad on the site as Hawkeye comes over for the rotation. Trainhard have been slowed down, however. The bomb is down. Trainhard looking to play this one together. You've got Keza and Whalers, 2 players of which the longest of which have been together here on this roster. And they're looking to play for Grad up top.
I mean, Grad could be anywhere. This takes time. That's the biggest problem here. Hockey's just making sure there is no rotation back over. Grad in a corner, finds one. That's all he needs. Nearly gets the second. Now it just comes down to a 1v1. Still no bomb in hand, though. I don't know if Hockey's aware of that or not, but Whaler's the one forced to make the play coming up, and time is a huge problem.
There's just no time here. He is going to go get this bomb down. Okay, no, he's not. Whalers, he just doesn't have the time, I think, when he actually slid onto the bomb site. Hawkeye going to make the right decision to play time. Doesn't even go for the check there. And that is going to be Elite 2 with yet another round on the board. And I really thought this was going to be the play, to be honest with you. I thought Keza and Whalers were going to be able to find him out. And then go for the bomb. But as soon as that 1v1 went down, it was just horrible for Whalers to figure out what to do.
I mean, it's one of those things that a couple of rounds now that we've seen Trainhard on the offense, when they're left with just AR players, the brakes are hit immediately, and everything comes to not just a slowing pace, but it comes to a stop. It's just like we're hoping someone walks through a line of sight. I mean, I'm reaching here, but that's kind of what it feels like compared to the pace of when they're coming off spawn to what they do in the back part of rounds where they're down members. It kind of feels that way. Opening 1v1, awkward shot punch exchange. Grad wins it, but meanwhile, in the middle of the map, Henry finds one kill, and Keza, who pushed through Garage, finds one more. Should be an opportunity to isolate Keza in this position, but Grad wants to try to keep his life a little while longer, and, well, this will be a very aggressive game of tag that results in not too much.
Grad going for this kill. I love this aggression coming out from Grad at the moment. Trainhard, we're not ready for it. And Grad now looking for an ace in this round. Has Hawkeye, who is yet to contribute to this game, for a teammate. And Hawkeye maybe having an opportunity here. He puts the first 2 shots into Whalers, sorry. Hawkeye gonna fall, and now Grad, a 1 versus 2 to save face in this game. 5-2 up. You could well finish it here.
Well, Grad's gonna try to go to A. And I really put a stretch on the word try because it's gonna have to come with a lot of fortune. He's got no mid-map pressure. You even see Whalers is going all the way over towards Curve to make sure that if he does try to go for a plant, he can watch every angle of it. And as you would expect, the AR just dominating at that position. Gives Trainhard a 3rd round. Will send us into round number 9 overall, but work still very much so needs to happen. It'll have to be, what, 4 rounds in a row here for Trainhard to steal away this map 5.
It's more than possible. You've got Whalers on the squad, of course, who is a veteran Call of Duty player. I'm pretty sure he is, as far as the players we have here in Challengers Elite Stage 2, one of the most veteran players, of course, we have here in our selection of 8 teams. So he'll be really bringing the squad together to make this search and destroy happen. They're playing this one a lot more closely as a squad as they make their move over towards A. The aggression coming out from Detain on the minimap. Whalers looking for the kill up top inside balcony, but Trainhard looking to make their move over towards A.
Raffi will also reinforce this A site. I'm not sure how much information Hawkeye had. He was playing pretty far forward in the courtyard. He's backed up into the visitor center. Nice nade up top from Detain. We'll push a couple of members back, and meanwhile, Keza from the Catamaran does find 1 kill, but look at where the red arrows for Elite 2 are. They've taken over the backside of this play, so Trainhard is a little bit stuck where they currently are positioned. He's going to have to try to find a way to make something happen through the visitor center because Whalers can't really come to be a part of this play. He's stuck in hotel.
And now it's just Detain. 1 versus 3, the newest addition to this Trainhard lineup to save this search and destroy. A nice record-ending game, but it's not to be. Elite 2 take it 6-3. They find themselves at 4-3 positive at the end of the round robin with that victory versus Trainhard.
Yeah, really good stuff. It's just overall, I think just kind of seeing it, not just from Trainhard's perspective and what we kind of saw them kind of being able to get things tight, especially off of the control win and the first Moscow. But I mean, again, the Garrison Hardpoint also pretty darn close. But at the end of the day, Elite 2 just looking like they're a little bit more polished when it comes down to some of those key moments. A lot of the decision-making visions when we were kind of looking at it, I hit it on a lot. Just felt like Trainhard were a little bashful when it came to really kind of saying, yes, this is the play. Let's commit to it. Let's go for it. And those moments where they're being a little bit timid is where Elite 2 I feel like, at least personally, that they found their steepest advantages.
Yeah, I think that was certainly the case. And I mean, they certainly made them sweat for it, right? It's not like Elite 2 came in here with a breeze and got an easy 3-0. I thought that they brought a lot of fire in towards the very first, initial games here for us and was able to come out with way more than what I expected, I think, initially. So these guys made them sweat, definitely almost closed things out as well in towards the map number 4, where it was just a couple points away, 1 rotation win, and you were able to close that one up and lock it down. But yeah, I think the S&Ds is where you could definitely feel a bit of a struggle. And in that Miami in particular, there was just a difficulty, I think, getting control of some of the power positions that was just being locked down by Elite 2 that solidified the win and made sure that they were able to at least come out on top here in the series.
Indeed. So that does mean, like we mentioned at the top of the show overall, Passion will come away as the number 1 seed in Europe. Rams will come away, or pardon me, Galacticos will be the number 2, I believe, overall, though there is a 3-way tie up top at 4 and 3. I'm pretty sure it'll go Rams, Elite 2, and then Connect 4, if I'm not mistaken. and then Team Moon will get out of the relegation phase to join them in the knockout bracket. 67K, Train Hard, both relegated, but that takes us to our schedule here. Coming up next on the main stream, we'll be jumping over to the North American region in a couple of hours, starting things off with Wester versus Built by Gamers. BBG did not have the greatest day yesterday. That's going to have to change if they want to try to fight their way maybe into a playoff spot, or at least to make sure they stay safe from relegation. And then UT Crew in Easter, a lot of the same storylines there. We'll be jumping into that. What are just kind of, before we jump over and send things to our break here, Visions, what are you kind of most looking forward to out of those two matches, just briefly?
Yeah, I want to see Built by Gamers, I think, really bring things back. There was a lack of, good gameplay that we saw from them yesterday, and it felt like Built by Gamers, the week previously, it was like, oh man, these guys are going to be coming in, and it looks like they might be able to make their way to the top. Complete opposite from stage one, but that very well might not fall through here for us. So I think that's going to be the game that I kind of have my eyes on for as far as, are they going to be able to bounce back? GodRx very, very vocal about coming out on Twitter yesterday saying, listen, we did not play good Call of Duty. That was unacceptable. And I feel like these guys are going to be able to bounce back from that. So I think that's kind of the match that I really have my eyes on here for sure.
Affinity, thoughts from you? Anything you're looking forward to out of those four squads?
I guess it's going to be the other match that kind of gets me going here. UT Crew versus Easter. There's something about this UT Crew roster. They were kind of like in hibernation in week number 1. And I think one of the players yesterday tweeted saying like, hey, this is a much better form for us. We're looking good here. To see what they'll be able to bring to the table against this Easter squad, you've got to remember, still fighting to get into playoffs and, of course, stage 3, of course, the top 2 spots in the pool.
Indeed the case, but we're going to send things off to a pretty extended break as we go and get ready for North America coming up later. We close the door on the group stage here in stage number 2 in Europe. 67K and Train Hard unfortunately will be leaving us, but we put a frame around Team Passion, who flawlessly make their way through the group. A tight affair all the way throughout. Everybody else means the knockout bracket will be electric coming up next week. But again, you're not going to want to go anywhere. North America, a lot to be decided when we come back after the break. We will see you then.